devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand. Call
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. Let me turn this level down real quick. Goodness gracious. Boom, boom, boom. Hold up. Yo, yo, yo. 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 My bad. I had to do my little testes. You know what I'm saying? Just had to throw my testes out there. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you everyone for taking the time to join us. We got a couple exciting things we're going to jump into. So first off, we do have a guest coming on this evening in a little bit, okay? But I asked him to hold off for a moment because some very special folks sent in some very special items. Now, of course, we're going to do, if you guys didn't see, the first ever mailroom episode on this channel ever. So this channel just turned 3 years old. What? 3 years? Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. And after being 3 years old, we're doing our first ever mailroom ever. Okay. So a bunch of the OGs sent in some stuff. I don't know. At first, I had to check to make sure there was nothing that was gonna explode, nothing that was gonna track me back to my home. So I didn't completely open up everything because I do want to leave some element of surprise with this. You know what I mean? But it's going to be a great time. We're going to do lots and lots of fun stuff. Hey, launch them fireworks, son. But then also after that, if you guys have ever seen a very, very intelligent, I would say remarkably intelligent individual who goes by the name of JoVa Q. JoVa Q, who's had an extensive history in the military. I think he came in during the G1 era. Um, he has he has a lot of knowledge, and we're gonna have a conversation about basically, everything from general infantry weapons to demolition, ordnance, crazy stuff that a lot of us, excuse me, haven't even heard of when it comes to small arms ordnance demo and stuff like that. And it's going to be a really good conversation. So first, we're going to do mailroom, and we're going to go through some stuff together. Now, I don't know how much of all this stuff that the people that sent in like want me to show, so I'm going to exercise my best judgment possible. And dude, you guys are just incredible, man. I'm super grateful for all y'all, man. This is yeah, I don't deserve y'all. I'll be real. I'm a keeps it real. Hey, Ron and Misty, good to see you guys. Big Easy, what up, all you guys? Um, well, before we get into mailroom, let's do this. So first, we got to greet everybody. So for those of you out there that have never seen this channel before, that don't know how we do, you're probably like, "Why did I just listen to a 3 minute song before this live stream?" So that's just kind of our thing. That's what we do. We kind of jam out a little bit first. You know what I mean? That's because we want to. Did y'all know that song? Somebody said that song was in Call of Duty. Somebody said it was in Call of Duty. It was in some other video game, some other movie, and so I'm like, "What?" I had no idea. So apparently that song is important to some folks. Kurt sent me that song in like the middle of the week, like a week ago. But anyway, yeah, that's how we get down. But then what we do is we literally go through, because we've basically been squashed on a particular platform. And the only way for us to continue doing this, honestly, is through viewers. This is a completely viewer funded channel. And because of that, we want to go through and greet every single literal channel member. And then after that, we're going to go through and say what's up to all the honorable mentions, all the other people in here. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get that started right now. So for anybody that is in here for the first time, that's how we do when we start the stream. We greet everybody, and then for anyone else that's maybe coming back and watching this tomorrow or the next day, if you're not watching this live, you probably want to skip ahead 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes. Anyway, we take a little bit of time in the beginning to greet our people, because you know why? Because there are people. That's why. And we may even discuss lobby day too, because guess what? Monday is lobby day, and your boy's going to the capital of Virginia in full kit, strapped up. Hey yo. Anyway, so first, let's go ahead and greet my guy, Key ASC, first in chat. Congratulations, Key. You are at least owed one extraordinarily crisp high five, sir. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Even though I know that kind of sounds more like a whip, it's kind of a high five. So, ooh, that's nice, crisp. Let's go through and greet all of our other channel members. So we got Kurt24 in the building. What's up, brother? Also a channel member. My guy is like the producer behind the scenes, that's unpaid and you never see him. But hey, you see him in chat. All right, my guy's killing it. So I appreciate you, Kurt24, also a channel member. We got Mark Tucker Mopka back there. What's up, brother? Man, you've been here for a minute too, man. Also a channel member. We got Mr. Fromage himself. Got a cheese, got a cheese. Now, got a cheese. I think I saw you asking, maybe it was somebody else that was asking about all the lazy roofer flags and pillows and all that. So I don't know if you and if everyone else knows, currently DLD Hardware has all of the merch available. So the lazy roofer hoodies, the lazy roofer flags, the lazy roofer pillows, the shirts, the shirt that says the vermin didn't I 11, that kind of thing. There's so many different shirts. There's all sorts of stuff. That is all available. You got to go to DLD Hardware, look through all the stuff. You got to look through. Look, it's kind of mixed up. There's like jigs and tools and building stuff, but then also there is all of that stuff as well. So just check it out. Just go check it out. But Gutter Cheese, also a channel member. I appreciate you, my guy. Key ASC, Mark Tucka, Kurt 24, Mr. Fromage, Johnny Propane, brother. What's up, man? Also with Chinamemba. I appreciate you, my guy. Kurt 24. Hey, Zanty Misfit. What's up, Zanty? Good to see you also with Chinamemba. Alabama in the house, says Live Life. What's up, Live Life? Also with Chinamemba. Blue Curtain Burner, my guy. What's up? Also with Chinamemba. Fire Rider, what's up, brother? Fire Rider has also been around forever, also with Chinamemba. We got Mike McClune, who's also with Chinamemba. And we got the man behind the bright blue Max Glowy Edition Goombeam flashlight. Dude, if I got a lot of people saying like this is like alien technology, okay? First off, behind me, this is a flashlight, okay? Now, if you've not seen anything like this before, it's because it didn't exist before Goombeam got hit. Bro, this is insanity. This is insane. Like I heard Kurt got one. They already sold out. The first one, this is the EDC one. Now mine has the glow in the dark blue button. So let's kill the lights. Let's see. Let's see. Can you see? Can you see it glows blue? I know it's dope. It's dope. Anyway, the EDCs sold out, but you guys are, dude, that's so crazy. That look at that shadow. It's like a negative of, bro. That is so insane, dude. I don't even understand how it's just nuts. Anyway, sorry, I get like distracted very easily. But Goombeam. So you guys can use the link in the description to go to Goombeam. You can use code DARK to save. I think it's 10%. But for those of you that did not get to take advantage of the take advantage of the Max Glowy Edition. Yo, that is so nuts, bro. That is crazy. For those of you that did not get to take advantage of the Max Glowy EDC, guess what? Did you know that Goombeam and DLD are doing collabs for the Max Glowy handheld, the Max Glowy rifle light, and the Max Glowy pistol light? So literally in this blue, which when you bring it outside and you shine this thing and it looks like a laser shining out, you will see all the crazy uses for for blue lights. Even if you want to surprise your neighbor when they pull up in the driveway and go, "Chicka, chicka, chicka, chicka." Just kidding. Do not do that. Do not do that. Don't commit any felonious activities with this. But anyway, Goombeam, you're the man. In addition to that, one quick announcement surrounding Goombeams is that not only do Goombeams cure cancer, but also Goombeams are going to be available for purchase on DLD hardware. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So you'll be able to get them from DLD hardware, but also not only DLD hardware, you'll still be able to get them from Goombeam as well. So, whatever, if you want, either way, you're supporting Goombeam either way. But if you get them from, using the description and the code and all that, you support the channel and Goombeam. If you get them from me when I get them up on DLD hardware, you'll be supporting the channel too and Goombeam. So it's a win for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Kurt 24, testing 1 2 3. What's up, brother? Also with Chinamemba, my guy. Great to see you. Dang, Chamber Defense, where you been at, bro? Good to see you. He says, yo, Kurt 24 and all the dilders. The dilders are all builders, man. I love it. Let's see, Zanty Misfit, Goombeam, Armitage, brother Armitage. Great to see you, man. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing well. Kurt 24, Mike McClune, the Goon. What's up, fam? Also with Chinamemba, my guy, Kurt 24, Zanty. Let's see, Mike McClune, Zanty. Let's see. I want to make sure we don't miss anybody. Senor Bob. Great to see you, Senor Bob. Also with Chinamemba, my guy. Gort. Great to see you. Also with Chinamemba. Gort, who's the robot? Is that maybe one of your like family robots? Or I'm just always curious when I see it, but I never got the courage to ask until today. I'm just kidding. I'm just curious. Let's see. Kurt 24. Let's see. Gort. Senor Bob. Tim Hoppa, W5TA8. Is that your ham radio? What's up, mofos? DLD, did you see Illinois' governor already wants to confiscate those newly registered assault guns? That didn't take too long, man. That's why they do it, bro. They keep track of them to take them. They don't keep track of them to, well, track them. unless they're sending them to the cartel. Then they actually do a pretty good job of tracking them, and then they do a great job of losing them too. Did you know that there's a cartel out there that is currently in I've heard from an individual that has spoken to some different cartels in their journalistic journeys, and there is talk of a cartel out there that self-proclaimed, they spoke up themselves and said that they currently have a United States issued minigun, like a what is it, Bradleys? I think they're Bradleys. Like a whack, like the bazillion rounds a second. Yeah, how else do you get them? You don't get, kits from Temu, okay? Those are yeah, they come from the United States. I don't know where else you'd get them, and they apparently had it brought whoops, sorry. They apparently had it brought over in, like, pieces. So, yeah, you gotta be working with somebody that's a little dirty or a little sketchy if you're doing that, alright? I'm just saying. Senor Bob Gort Z. Let's see, Kurt 24, ZNT Misfit, yo. Eagle Run 23. What's up, fam? Good to see you also with Chinamemba. You my guy. If you guys have not subscribed to Eagle Run 23, like what are you doing? This dude has an incredible channel. He's a great dude, and he has probably some of the best patches in the business, which we're going to go over tonight because my guy sent in a package, which we're going to go over in mailroom, and I'm pumped. And JoVa Q, if you're out there right now, because I'm behind in chat, I'm going to be a little past 10:30 because we haven't started mailroom, and it's 10:31, so Eastern at least. People are people. Z, what's up, brother? Great to see you, Mr. Z. Also a Chinamemba, longtime supporter. Appreciate all you guys, man. S. Armitage, Mr. Kurt 24. Yes, and I do have a new channel. It is, if you go, you can click that link right there, but also you could search DLD TV 2023, and you'll find my new channel, which is going to be used for all new video uploads and short videos and all sorts of stuff, tabletop reviews, more technical stuff, and yeah, it's going to be straight fuego. I already got a couple videos up there. Watch them if you could, like them, comment, share them with your mom. She'll be super proud of you. Kurt 24, Drew, what's up, Drew? Great to see you also with Chinamemba. I'm late, but here, don't worry, I was late too. Oh man. Okay. Zanti, Drew, Kurt, Mr. Fromage. I purchased the first attempted release, but didn't get any confirmation. Okay, so then if you were part of that initial run, maybe something was wrong with the email, but they're out. Like most of them are shipped. If yours hasn't actually physically shipped yet, maybe you just didn't get the email, but they're on the way. All of it's done by third parties. It took me 50 days. I literally was processing returns like, all right, I can't do this. And as I went to go approve the returns, because when I process the returns, apparently you have to go back in and like authenticate them or whatever, or kind of you have to like approve them like a almost like a secondary like a security kind of step. And I went in there and I see this little button that says request fulfillment, which is kind of ridiculous because if I'm syncing the stores and people are going on my store and then they're ordering them and then the order is processed, that should trigger requesting fulfillment. But I looked everywhere on both websites, could not find anything, but it was in the area of like the preferences for canceling the order and sending money back. And then it was sitting right there. It said request fulfillment. I was like, bro, head slap. But anyway, they're all getting shipped out. Some of them are just a couple days away from some dudes. So you'll, if you were in that first batch, then you're gonna have it in no time. So just hang out with your wang out and be to you in no time. Z, hey, T for Tejas. By the way, T for Tejas, thank you for hitting me up on IG and asking for my PSA link because I sent the PSA link and he did his thing, and then that I appreciate you, bro, because it would be so much easier just to forget, like, oh, I could support, DLD with this. And thank you. I appreciate you, my guy, for real. Also, naturally, a Chenamemba. I appreciate you, my guy. Let's see. Z, T for Tejas, Senor Bob, Goonbeam. You're the man. No, you're the man. No, you the man. No, you the man. I know. I know. Ed Zachary, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Are the assault flashlights blue beam or nah? No, I don't believe there are blue assault flashlights out yet. But we'll see. We'll see. Just double check with Goonbeam. I don't think any of the other ones are out yet. Fluffy Bunny Arsenal, what's up, fam? Also with Channel Member. I appreciate you, my guy. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Let's see. Drew, Chamber Defense, Ed Zachary, Lead on Steel. What's up, fam? Also with Channel Member. Z, Fluffy Bunny Arsenal, Chamber Defense, Gort. Gort is the robot from the Day the Earth Stood Still movie. What? I had no idea, bro. That's crazy. All right, let me get some nicotine and we're going to wrap up here. Scusi. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. What's up, brother? Holy moly, yo. Hold on, this may be my guest. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Let's see. T for Tejas. Let's see. Z, Fluffy Bunny Ass. And I know people are like, yo, what is this dude doing looking down and just yeah, let me put this on silent. Talking on his phone while he's on a live stream. How unprofessional. Tech Money, what's up, brother? Tech Money, great to see you, man. Also a channel member. Man, I appreciate you guys so much for being channel members. That is fire. It's the most firest way to support the channel, bro. Barton Fink, what's up, brother? I'm awaiting Rich having a PSA link so I can order an AUG. Yeah, Rich has a link. He just doesn't do anything. I mean, to be fair, I also don't share the link. I know I don't really like treat this like most content creators treat their platform. And to be fair, I have a small channel, but even though, but like, look, dude, we'll have people watching for an average of an hour for like 2 to 3 hour streams with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people watching. Like the fact that that many people stay for that long, it is insane, and I'm grateful for it. And I gotta say, we have some dope conversations on here, but I don't really treat it like most content creators do their platform, where they're pushing links out, they're pushing link trees, they're pushing this and that. Go to my other community, and then I can send you links over there, and then like market to you. And it's nothing against them. I'm just saying, I just don't do it. What I like to do is I want you guys to be able to have something of value, right? So, stuff with DLD hardware, we got the DLD Glock barrels coming out. We got, the blue goon beams. We like that stuff, the merch, like that stuff that like you can literally keep like forever. And it's memorable, right? Like you can imagine, bro, the party favors with this thing, like, and explaining, oh, so like my best friend Dark I'm just kidding, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I appreciate all you guys. Obviously, we got the honorable mentions. We got JC Neener in the building. Turkey testosterone. Of course, you can't forget that. And we have Misty Misdemeanor, Mrs. Wayne in the building as well, with Ron Wayne as well. And part of Mailroom, yes, I've showed this on stream before, but part of Mailroom is going to be discussing the biggest deck pick that I got for Christmas as well, which is from Misty and Ron. I appreciate you guys so much. Let's see, Palmetto State Armory, 800-pound gorilla in the room. Ooh, okay. M. Gabriel, what's up, brother? We got M. Gabriel. Damien, my brother in Christ. What's up, fam? Good to see you. There he is. There's Ron Wayne. We got Lightning McQueen as well. Let's see, JC Neener. Dangle Matt, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Let's see. Anyone else sign off if I miss you? I know there are a lot of other people up there, but we got to get moving. Wired Tight, what's up, fam? Good to see you. And let's see. Damien, we said what's up to you. And dang, I'm going all the way back up. Ryan, Big Easy, what's up, Big Easy? Dekine, what up? What up? All you guys. Christy, good to see you too. All y'all, appreciate all you guys coming in and hanging out. So, like I said, we have stay strapped or get clapped. Ain't that the truth? Sam Man, what's up, Sam Man? Dekine, what up? What up? Um, let's see, Blue Curtain Burner. And all right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I don't know how much of stuff that people want to share. Like I don't want to like start reading stuff that may be something like personal. So I'm going to take a look at some of the stuff that people sent, and we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And if we have time today, we're going to do mail call, and then we're going to do the chat with JoVa Q, which is going to be a really really deep dive into some crazy military stuff, energetics, ordnance and infantry men stuff like small arms stuff, but also ordnance and explosives and things like that. Maybe, yes, I did say DLD barrels, very high quality barrels too. Barrels that if you guys build, likely all of y'all have one from this company that makes barrels for these companies. They're usually $99 to $149, but they're blank and they're from two of the most popular companies in, I'd say, probably in like all of gun building for real. But there's two really, really, really big companies that sell them for 99 to 149. Well, I'm gonna have them branded, so it'll have a DLD Glock barrel, and it'll have my logo on it, and they'll still be sold for like 99 bucks. So I'm trying to get a good quality barrel out to you guys to be able to, maybe upgrade a Glock that you already have or finish a build or whatever, but it'll be a DLD Glock barrel. So just some dilders for the builders. You know what I'm saying? Rusty Shackelford, what's up, brother? Also with Chinamemba, my guy. Boop you. Uh, maybe that, maybe that, maybe that, maybe that, maybe that, maybe that, maybe that. You know what I'm saying? Juan Wick can get a minigun allegedly. All right, let's jump into it. So first, I do want to go over this. Okay, this was one of the coolest Christmas cards that I got. This is from the Wayner family, the Wayne family, and I appreciate you guys. So it says, "Have yourself a merry little Grinchmas." It says, "Merry Christmas, Dark, love you, brother, Ron, and Misty Wayne." And then he drew a gorgeous, throbbing hard deck. You gotta love his deck pick. Did a great job. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. That honestly, that meant a lot. That meant a lot. Now another one. I put this in this box, so it's not like I have any shortage of P80 boxes. All right, I'm just saying. So this was dope. Have you guys ever seen that the like stickers and shirts and stuff that says "I love the '80s"? Well, Eagle Run 23 has a patch that says I love the '80s, but he's got a GST-9 on it, and he's got ammo, and you see what I'm saying? You see the play on that? How dope is that regarding like 80 percenters? So that's one of his patches right there. He's got that say when he could be your Huckleberry, Eagle Run 2-3. Beautiful patches here. He's got the Texas plate, Eagle Run 2-3. Lone Star State. Love it. And he's got this one, Every Blade of Grass, Eagle Run 2-3. 4 dope patches. And then, it's Eagle Run, baby. So he's going to have the 8.6 blackout sticker. And then also, he's got some other fire stickers. This one, let's see. It's okay. It's not loaded. Firearm safety. That's hilarious. I don't know if that's it. Yes, that is his. It's okay. It's not loaded. A couple other Texas Eagle Run 2-3 stickers right there. I like that. Um, so I'm making a sticker wall. I have a patch wall, but I'm making a sticker wall too. And I also got the I love the '80s sticker with the GST Neener on it. So That's dope. That's a really, really nice touch. I like that. He also added in here, let me put these in here so I keep everything. He also added in here a Gerber, that flat blade, like that razor kind of style Gerber knife in here. And I was like, whoa, like I was certainly not expecting that. So Eagle Run 23, make sure you subscribe to his channel. You're the man, man. And I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you. Okay, now this I was also surprised about. So this is Key ASC. Y'all know Key ASC. He's been around forever. Now he sent me some pins and stuff like that, and and some stickers, but I don't know if he like I don't want to like put out his info if it's like something from, oh, some coasters too. But if that's like where he's at or where he works and stuff, I don't want to show any of that. So I'll keep that on the low. But I will tell y'all that you guys know I usually rock a beanie. And in the wintertime, like literally from October to like March in Virginia, bro, it gets cold. Hey, 2A Militia, what's up, man? Good to see you. It gets cold. So literally from like October to March, I rock a beanie, right? Now, usually I rock the Magpul beanies. You guys have probably seen that I have oh, is there what? Hold on. Here. I'll just keep that on the low low. You guys have probably seen the Magpul ugly sweater beanie that I got, the Air 15 ugly sweater. I found another one and I almost purchased it this Christmas. And I was like, you know what? Let me just not. I'm not going to do it. So what happens? I get a package from your boy, Key ASC. He says, hey, Dark, this is some random stuff from your boy, Key ASC, aka Key ASC. I think it's Kioski EEI 2 or something like that. It's like a code thing. I don't know much about it, but yeah, I always say it wrong apparently. Hope this helps open some Topo Chicos in style. Tossed in some random shop swag too. Let's see. You mentioned a sticker wall coming soon. I'm slow on shipping shit sometimes. So the whatchamacallit I'm about to show you is kind of dated. No, it's not at all. It's perfect. But it can work with more than Christmas, right? So this is literally the exact hat that I was gonna get. It's a Magpul beanie. So you already know I think it may be called something else when it has the ball on top. But my guy, KAC, sent me the dopest Magpul ugly Christmas sweater beanie that exists with candy canes. Candy cane. You remember that movie? Name that movie. But bro, this is awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. And there's also some other swag in here, some stuff, but to protect his own privacy and stuff. I'm gonna keep that on the low. But if you guys have been kind of keeping an eye out for different stuff I've been carrying and whatnot, ADXR920, what's up, brother? Also a member. You'll likely know that I recently have gotten another Cobra Tech. Now, this Cobra Tech is a blue OTF. Your boy Jonah with Big Mac Defense helped me get it. Now, I don't know if KASC knew that I got that or what, but when I open up the package with the Magpul hat, I see this and I'm like, yo, that's a Cobra Tech box. He probably just like put something else in it, right? Bro, I open it up and what do I see? A mother flippin' Cobra Tech in here. However, this is not just any Cobra Tech. This is a matching Cobra Tech, okay? Same color, but this is an OTF bottle opener. Right? An OTF bottle opener? Bro, that is insane, dude. I saw these and I wanted them for like because I always like lose bottle openers. I try to open Topo Chicos up here, can't do it. So because of KAC, I will never need to search for another bottle opener again. And it matches the new OTF, bro. You did. I don't even. This wasn't intended to be like gifts. I was just saying like send in letters or like stickers and stuff like that. But you guys, some of y'all went all out, bro. I will never, ever, ever forget this. This is one of the coolest things. I love it, man, and I so appreciate you. And you know, like I said, I don't deserve you guys, man. This is super cool, and I appreciate you. And I'll be rocking that Magpul beanie probably till like March, right? But thank you, man. Seriously, I appreciate you. Like I said, I'll keep the stickers and stuff over here, so I don't, you know, for all I know, it's like your at home business or something like that. I don't want to be weird. All right, hold on. Now you know it makes you feel special when another content creator sends you something. So this first one I'll show. I don't know how I missed this like twice, two times when I went to my PO box, and I didn't see it or they didn't give it to me or something. But if you guys know, to AEDU, our boy sent a Christmas card and it says Merry Christmas 2023. It's got, you know, the if you watch his streams, it is the same background that you always see him in, like this. Oh, look, you're watching 2ADU. It's Friday night at 9:30 p.m. But then he said, even for the AR-15 fans. Thank you for supporting the channel, dude. This is awesome, man. To EDU, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Still no jarts, no explosives, and no air tags or like GPS units. I was really surprised. Yes, free CRS and Justin, bro. Men that are literally political prisoners right now, man. It's infuriating. Now this one, it's got some stuff that I don't know if I'm supposed to show, so I'll just show a couple of the things. So your boy Sporty Spice sent me something, and some of the stuff, like I said, I don't know if I can show yet, so I'll hold off on showing anything yet. Uh, but the other stuff, I see this little rolled up thing. It was a rolled up piece of paper, and it said, "Merry Christmas, Monica." And if you don't know who Monica is, just say it really slow, one syllable at a time. Now I've got a little collection of stilettos, and him and I have talked about like lever lock stilettos. Yo, I open this thing up, and there is a mofo lever lock style stiletto in there with like real hardwood grips. Now, if you guys don't know what a lever lock is, this lever, you could push it, pull it, and all that, and it doesn't open, right? What you need to do is literally flip it up. Hold on. You need to flip it up like that, and then you push it, and as you push it, it boom opens that, and it's like a bayonet style blade. Bro, sport brand, this thing is fresh, doggy. Holy moly. I again, another thing that I just was absolutely not like expecting y'all to go ham like this. Like, remember, I was asking for stickers and letters and feet pics and stuff, but you guys went super overboard, man. And you know that this stuff means a lot, man, for real. Thank you. And Sport Brand, you know, we love you, broski. Thank you. And this may be my new like letter opener, my professional, you know, letter. All the people at work are gonna love that. We don't really have work, but you know what I mean. Let's see. And also, he included this crazy thing. I forgot what he called it, but it's kind of like a grappling hook style, like weeping. It could be a weeping, you know, like those things that like the ninjas like swirl around and like sink hooks into mofos and like yeet people, you know. I don't know if I'll yeet anyone with this, but it is dope. It is dope. And the other stuff, I don't know if I can show yet because we didn't chat. But dark Israeli soldiers open bottles with their IWI Galil. The OG Galil had a bottle opener. Did it really? I mean, I would guess that you can open a bottle with almost any part of a Galil, but did they use like the bayonet lug as a bottle opener or something? Can Dark read cursive? Yes, believe it or not, I can. Even though I left high school at 15, I can. John Rice, member for 7 months, bro. I appreciate you so much. YouTube banned me for a bit. Let's see if they can let me speak live or not. Good to see y'all. So we're going to talk about that tonight too when I get JoVa Q on here shortly. John Rice, I appreciate the support, man. I know it means a lot. Thank you. Um, yeah, this particular platform is literally going around banning people, viewers, and we're going to talk more about that too. We got a bunch of stuff we need to get into and talk about tonight. Okay, so and I also, man, I'm so sorry. I'm bad at this stuff, man. I have a patch that I promised one person. Anthony, if you're out there, bro, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you yet. Things have just been crazy busy. I did not forget about you. I could never forget about you. And I will get that patch out to you. Um, but I only have like 2 left outside of that, y'all. So if you took advantage of the DLD patches, then you got them, and that's it. There's never going to be other DLD patches again. Let's see. So I don't know if he wants me to read this stuff. Hold on. Um, you know what? Here's what. Oh, whoops, my bad. I'm clicking stuff. Here's what I'll say. I think this is Toy Town. Toy Town Inc. If you're okay with me reading this, at least at least like this part out loud, you let me know. But otherwise, I don't want to break your confidence in me and my. You know what I mean? Like I respect y'all's privacy, and I want to maintain that. So let us keep Christmas. Its meaning never ends. The time of year to wish happiness and goodwill to friends and loved ones near and far. The time to share the joys of the past and the hopes of the future, and to remember all we have to be thankful what we have to be thankful for. If we can do this for a day, why not forever? Let us keep the true spirit of Christmas today, tomorrow, and always. What about the birth of Jesus Christ, man? Dang. Have a wonderful holiday. Merry Christmas to you and your daughter. Oh, my guy, Toy Town Inc. You're the best, bro. Um, thank you, man. And hold on, what? Yo, Toy Town Inc. Are you rocking Amend 2 magazines, my guy? You cannot do that. What? Stop playing. Is this like legitimate, bro? Okay. So look at the back of this. Okay. And when you turn it around, Confederate dollars, bro. What? Dude, that's insane. What's up, Rich? Confederate States of America, 100 Confederate dollars. Dude, that's insane, dude. Bro, I could literally put this with my 1851 Colt Navy revolver. Dude, look how dude, that is nuts. I mean, I did have to, of course, make fun of you because you have an Amend 2 bag, and the only reason you would have an Amend 2 bag is if you have an Amend 2 magazine. And if you have an Amend 2 magazine, that means you need to talk, all right? I'll literally send you an upgrade. But yo, Confederate dollars, bro, that's insane. Yo, thank you, Toy Town. Toy Town, again, let me know if you want me to read any of the stuff, man. That is definitely going to be going out. I will literally frame it, and I will put that next to the 1851 Colt Navy revolver that my great, I believe my great grandfather used in the Civil War. Call some bodies with that thing, boy. Dude, that's pretty nuts, man. That's insane. I know new people coming in probably don't care about any of this stuff, but yo, this is my people, man. This is all you guys are, you know, you're all my peoples, and I switch you, dog. Now here's the other piece. Uh, like I said, I'm putting together a sticker wall. So he sent me like a 2-pound bag of all these like dope like car stickers. So This is gonna uh, give some speed and efficiency to my. Oh, dude, that's dope. Goodyear. There's all sorts of stuff that I don't know because I'm not really a car guy, but they look fresh and man cavey. You know what I'm saying? Toy Town, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. Hey, there you are. Came in late. Read the white paper aloud, not the blue. Okay. All right. Yeah, I was saying I didn't want to put it out there without you. And JoVa Q, if you're out there, just please be patient, man. I'll wrap up in a sec. Call 911 Namakila. Okay, so let me cover the name. So you're saying this one, right? That one? You want me to read aloud, but not the blue one? Okay, I'll push that over here. I'll read that solo later. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna hold it up because there's info on the back, but it says December 19th, 2023, before the year that the world changed. Got you. Thank you, Toy Town. Hey man, hope things are going good. I'm sure it's tricky navigating the holidays as a single dad. Just remember kids spell love Time. Time. There's an audiobook that helped me called Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters. I'm trying to find a copy to send you, but in the meantime, you may be able to find it on Apple Play. Here's some stickers for your sticker wall. Thank you, brother. Mostly automotive related from my race car driving days. Dang, that's what's up. I've had this $100 bill, the Confederate $100 that I showed you guys. It was my great grandfather. What, dude? You did not need to give. Man, if that's been in your family, bro. Oh my goodness. It says, honestly, I never met him and it has no sentimental value to me. It's probably worth a decent amount to a collector, but in the spirit of breaking consumerism, materialistic brain, I had a better idea and thought of you. Being it was a Confederate bill printed in Richmond, you seem proud of your swoop state and heritage. I thought it would be cool to display with your great grandfather's Colt 1851. Damn, man. See, Toy Town, you know, man. My guy. Thank you. It says it's ironic to think about how much money that was back then. And within 150 years, it's just a piece of paper. Man, think about that for a second. Chew on that, digest that shit. It's literally just a rotting piece of paper, right? The way that we idealized month. Oh, well, hold on. Sorry. Let me focus. Um, it's a piece of paper. Hope this finds you well. Sorry for the shitty penmanship. You actually got great handwriting. Hit me up if you ever need a vent or just chop it up. Text me first if you do. 831-330-8004. Hit Toy Town up on the low because Toy Town about to blow. Sorry. That was Mike Jones' phone number, y'all. It's not Toy Town's. I'm just joking. Uh, as I get 10 to 15 scam calls a day. Take it easy, man. Toy Town Inc. Bro, Toy Town, man. You know what? You get a golf clap for that, man. Or that's more than a golf clap, but dude, everything there, everything that you said is really important and I value that. I value your opinion and I've grown to, you know, really admire a lot of you guys and thank you. I appreciate you. And I'll take my little secret blue message and I'll read that after the stream. All right. I just picked this stuff up today, y'all. And and I did show off the stickers from your race car days, and I appreciate that, brother, and I appreciate you. Thank you. I will make sure they get put to good use on the sticker wall. Thank you. Now, hold on. I think was that yeah. We got that. Got that. That. Oh, and I do want to actually show a little bit of love too, because I also received in the mail the other day a PR trigger from, well, PR triggers, and these are available, and I can get you guys a discount too. I just installed it in a Gen 3 OEM frame today, And if you guys are looking for a PR trigger, do me a favor, send me like a DM on Instagram, and I'll literally be able to send you a link and a discount code, and you'll support the channel, but also save a great deal of money. And it's like a third or less than what other companies are selling their binary trigger for, and you don't need a slide like a company's slide. But anyway, thank you to PR Triggers, and I appreciate that, and all you guys, man. Thank you. Also, I want to add too that 2EDU threw in some stickers in that too. So thank you, my brother. Yeah. Okay. So I believe that's it. Am I tripping? Did I miss something else? I feel like there's something else. Um. No, we got that, got that. Okay, okay, awesome. Thank you guys, all of y'all that sent something in, all y'all that sent in stickers. Your stickers are going to be on the back of my wall when I get it all set up and done. That's going to be over. So it looks like that's like right next to me. Like I can touch it, but that's like 6 feet away from me. So these are I'm gonna put up a whole bunch of first off, I'm putting a big workbench there. It's like a 6 foot workbench. Hey, Carbon Q, Chinamamba, what's up? Good to see you. Wish I could get a PR trigger, but Florida sucks. Oh man, that sucks, bro. Um, and Prepper Book Club, what's up, brother? Also with Chinamamba, appreciate you. Benchy's in the building, Angry Sarge in the building. Good to see you guys. Yeah, man, I just want to say I'm grateful for all you guys, and I appreciate y'all, man. That means a lot. And I'll be able to put these, stickers and stuff up, excuse me, and patches and whatnot in the back, so that you guys will have like a little piece of you will be in the back of the live stream thing, because I'm gonna have. So the reason I created the other channel, DLD, if you it's DLD TV, but if you search DLD TV 2023 all together, I think not my name. What's up, bro? Good to see you. DLD TV mailroom. Yes. All right, let me send this to okay, to JoVa Q. I'm sending this now. Message. Surprise, surprise. I was late. Sorry for the delay. Here it is. Boom. Um, there we go. Sorry. So yeah, I'll be putting a like a about maybe not 6 foot. It's whatever. I'll be putting a workbench there, and then I'll be putting a whole back wall up with stickers and patches and all that stuff. And it's going to be like a an area that I can do the hard videos, where I'll be uploading them specifically to the DLD TV channel. So if you didn't see, yeah, boom, Kurt, beautiful. Thank you. Um, that's the channel right there. You can click that, watch the shorts, subscribe, and all that. So that's going to be the channel I'm using for hard video uploads, and also for short videos and stuff like that. And for anything like technical tabletop stuff, those kind of conversations, I'll also be able to. There's some people locally here that I want to get in and have like physical guests here, which we can sit like on the table and do some stuff, but also for other platforms that allow us to do a little bit more. We'll be able to literally like build stuff. And you guys, we got so much stuff that is planned for this coming up year. Did you know that MGB and DLD are going to have a show weekly moving forward? Starting next week, but I can't tell you anything about it yet. You got to wait. Tuesdays, 12 noon. I know it's crazy. DLD during the day. All right, but so for all of you guys out here, you may not know, but we have a friend. Hey, Jason Ewing, good to see you. Also with Chenamemba. We have a friend who has committed a great deal of his life to service, and has been in the military for a while, and he just has a you know crazy amount of experience and of knowledge. And every single time he has come on, he has just dumped a huge amount of knowledge and value on all of us. So I figured what better way than to have him come on and talk, just basic like infantry, infantry small arms, explosives, demo ordnance. Just kind of have a conversation. So without further ado, I bring to you JoVa Q.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Who's this guy you got coming on with all that experience?
I don't know, some stranger, I don't know.
How's everyone doing? Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Thank you, dude. I honestly, I love, just kind of the way you deliver information. It's easy to digest. You know what you're talking about, and it's dope, man. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um,
You want
yeah,
to let everyone know just kind of a little bit about yourself, who you are, well, you don't have to get into too much detail, but give as much info as you'd like to out there.
I'm just just a normal guy. Decided to join the military. Um, been doing it ever since. You know,
Hmm.
couple of different experiences, everything else, man. Just like to have fun and spread good information. You know,
Hell yeah.
and what you choose to do with it is your choice. Um,
Yeah.
I'll, I'll say just master the basics at everything. You know,
Yeah.
um, there's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of good people in the communities, a lot of good information. And with that being said, the caveat is there's also some bad information out there. So
Oh yeah. Oh
just
yeah.
pretty you just try to get everyone straight, not run afoul of the law, even though a lot of this stuff I don't agree with. But
Hmm.
that's the topic.
You know,
Um,
it's funny because I always say, like, even though, regardless of what we may or may not agree with, or what we find to be reasonable or lawful, we still have to do one thing, which is acknowledge the world that we live in, and always government, the elite, police, whoever, they will always leverage something against you. Two things really, and that is fear of incarceration and fear of death. And those two things, those are power moves. So yeah, but please go ahead.
someone said it before, and we live our lives in fear of going to prison, but we live in jail.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
I'll let you figure that one out.
Hold on. Was that Tupac?
No, 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 man. That was like a actual legit uh,
I was gonna
person.
say that sounds familiar.
You know, Tupac might use it in one of his songs. Someone else might use it. You got excuse the light. I'm outside. Taking that nicotine fit. I
Nah,
don't
you're
want to
good.
light because then you won't be able to see me. Um, what do you want to talk about, man?
We living in hell because ain't no place for me in jail. Shit, what was that line? I can't remember the line, but he said something similar.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, I figured, just kind of getting a little bit more info on you and your background and what you did, and everything else will kind of just flow from there. But before we
Just,
do, I just want to say we got Bearjaw Homestead, who is now a brand new member of DLD After Dark. Bro, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Welcome to the Kim Light Club. And everybody in chat, if you could give him some love, welcome him as well. And also, excuse me, welcome everybody that just came over from the Tactical Turkeys. I can tell that the turkey stream just ended because like 30 people just came up in here. So I appreciate all you guys. We got Princess Kicking Butt, which we know is Ting Ting. We got the E-Wings. We got Fish. What's up, Fish? Great to see you, bro. Let's see, CDL in the building. What's up, man? Bearjaw, I think he was having some connectivity issues, so I'm sure he'll be right back. Let's see, Shana Memba, great to see you. Kaba Sports, what's up, Kaba? Kaba, good to see you. Follow Kaba on Instagram as well. Yes, hashtag free CRS for real. Um, Agorizer, my guy, all you guys. Mike Ken, what's up, Mike Ken? Good to see you. All you guys, appreciate y'all
yeah.
coming.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
I figured it
Yeah.
just dropped out. So,
Yeah. So
so
like
what?
I was,
Yeah, go ahead.
um, yeah, I didn't. I'm not like a tab guy or anything like that, or any of that stuff. I don't work for the agency or anything like that. I
So
just
explain what that means. What's a tab guy for people that may not
so
know?
I was talking about special forces, tier one operators, all this and all that. I'm not none of that. I just was fortunate enough to work with a lot of people that was smart and intelligent, and
Mhm.
I sat back in the corner and I listened. I took notes and I asked questions, and in
Yeah.
doing, learned a lot. Um,
So would you say that you may have rubbed, bumped elbows and rubbed shoulders with some of those types of individuals?
yeah, yeah, yeah. May have came across them, handing out towels at the gym, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Not my name. What's up, bro? Good to see you. So what did you do in the military?
Uh, I used to throw things out of airplanes. So
Okay,
mm,
interesting. What do you mean by that?
just just things,
Okay,
everything from vehicles to people. And
wow. So like supply drops and shit like that, like when like you know um supply drops with parachutes on them and shit like that.
yeah, yep. So yeah, just name it. You know,
So let me ask you this. So I've always found like one of the most fascinating things when you look at World War II, for an example, like the first 3D printed firearm that at least became popular was called the Liberator, right? And that firearm was named after the one of the most impactful, rare, unique, and silly, but impactful and important firearms of World War II, which was the Liberator pistol. It's a single shot 45 ACP, and they literally threw them out of airplanes, cheap, pressed steel, what do you call it, stamped steel,
yeah, Bill.
and yeah, and they were single shot 45 ACP. They were, I mean, essentially like dog shit. If Keltec existed back then, they would have made the 45 ACP liberators, but the purpose of them was to be able to take firearms from a Nazi, right?
Yes,
And that concept is so cool to me. The other thing that I always found really cool and unique was they literally threw them out of airplanes and threw ammunition out of airplanes.
yes.
Uh, did you ever throw weapons out of planes like that?
Yeah. So during the initial stages of Operation, well, we called it GWAT when it first started. When we went into
Mhm.
Afghanistan, we would have missions to where if you had troops on the ground and everything else, just because of the geographical terrain of Afghanistan, a lot of stuff was done by air deliveries, whether it was ammunition for heavy guns, ammunition for artillery, even
Mhm.
arms for the resistance. It was delivered by air, right? So,
And
you
you're
know,
dealing with like serious, like rocky terrain and, shit where a lot of vehicles can't really get in and out aside for the people that already have that are already in FOBs. And so you guys are literally launching shit out of plane. And for people that don't know, GWAT stands for the Global War on Terror. So he's talking about the, early stages of the 20-year war that we just.
talking about October of 2001. So I'm sure a lot of people saying 12 strong, right? ODA 595. They got the mission to go into Afghanistan and
Mhm.
Harmed Karzai and the other guy. Um, so like literally, we went back to riding horses and doing stuff on pack mules and stuff like that. For the previous 20 years, 30 years, our whole thing was fighting the Soviets coming across the Fulda Gap. Everything was mechanized, everything was dependent upon all this technology and everything else. We had to go back to old cavalry charges.
Mm.
Um, we actually had missions prior to that when they opened up Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. We had missions where we resupplied the ODAs, dropping hay for their horses and ammo and everything else. So we got a lot of experience in that. The big army was kind of shied away from that. They were force on force, looking at brigade size battles, 300, 400 people going in, maneuvering, everything else. When you
Wow.
was more discretionary warfare, small unit tactics, ODA, a plussed up ODA of 16 individuals, composite. Yeah, Air Force, other people in there, SILs, some MARSOC people.
Mm.
We learned a
Yeah,
lot, steep learning curve. So
I
yeah,
could imagine. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that that movie 12 Strong, and that was based on real real
yeah,
men, real situations.
yeah, yeah. Real. the guys that flew the helicopters, 160th SOAR, one of the hardest missions that they flew because they took their aircraft above what their published capabilities was. You know,
That's right.
at night, bad weather, everything else. So
With skull crushers on.
yeah, yeah. If you go back and Google some of the declassified information, they talked about how arduous that trip was. Just flying in from K2, right, which was the base in Kazakhstan, right, old Soviet base.
Yeah,
From
those
there,
dudes were like puking on their boots, losing,
yeah,
consciousness for a little
air
bit.
sickness, everything else.
Yeah.
You know, um,
What does ODA stand for?
ODA is Operational Detachment Alpha. So in your special forces organizations, you have an ODA and an ODB. ODB is your support guys or the support element that it's like your staff. They
Okay.
make sure bullets, they got the beans, they got everything that they need. ODAs are the guys that's on the ground, train, assist, advise, and doing the fighting.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of lessons was learned during that. A lot of cool stuff as far as infiltration techniques. You'll hear a lot of people say, "Well, airborne is dead. Airborne is dead. There's no use to have airborne forces." Well, they did a couple of infiltrations during utilizing military freefall. Later on in the war in October, Ranger Regiment seized an airfield. Three C-130s jumped in, took the airfield down, and they landed the advanced force in. So that's where a lot of people pick up
Yeah.
the war. Fast forward from that, you know, um, a lot of things changed. The TTPs. We started looking at the weapons, right? Because remember, Afghanistan is real open, rugged terrain. You
Hmm.
start getting some substandard performance, or the AR-15s wasn't performing optimally. That's when guys at Crane, they took the old M14s that was in the inventory, they cut them down to 14-inch barrels. Now you got the SOCOM 16, 7.62 by 51, can reach out, punch, knock down targets. Uh,
Really? I didn't know that they chopped them down. That's pretty crazy.
yeah, that's where the SOCOM 16 came from. So that was
Mm.
an organization that said, hey, we need a little bit more firepower,
Now,
because
were they rocking the ones that like had the selectors, with like the full auto ones?
yeah, they cut them down. And so here's something that's funny about full auto, right? Especially with the M14s and 308s. That's
Mhm.
not like your optimum platform to do that in because one, it's uncontrollable, it's hard to control, uh,
Small magazines, low capacity.
everything else. But now you're talking about not your average guys. These are your tier one elements. Delta, SEAL Team 6, other units, and everything else. 24th STS, right? So during the initial stages of the war, there was a lot of kinetic operations. They was going out hunting people down, looking for people, doing stuff like that. It was literally the wild, wild west.
Mm. Yeah, I saw some pictures actually of the, I don't know, probably the first few years of like in the beginning, and a guy that well, someone shared pictures with me, and one of the dudes uh, took a side by side shotgun from a farmer that they were not supposed to be there. They were not supposed to be armed. Basically, any military age males that were, still there were expected to be hostile, right? And basically, the dude took a side by side shotgun that he found on a young man. Oh, dang it. Well, he'll be back in a second. I think he's just having connectivity issues. But basically, to kind of wrap up the story with you guys. Oh, well, never mind. Here, he's back. There we go.
I'm sorry. Hey, yeah, have to forgive me. I'm on my telephone, so if I keep getting calls. If I drop out, I'll come back in. So my apologies for that.
You're good. You're good. I'm just happy to have you here, man. So
Uh,
in this situation, that this guy, when basically when they're uh, evacing an area, they tell everyone leave, and anyone that stays behind is expected to be um, a hostile. and they ended up going across a farm, and the guy took a side by side 12 gauge from a young man, old teenager, whatever, probably like an 18 to 20-year-old kid, and he took it, chopped it down, and made this like ghetto thigh rig, and for a very long time that was one of his backup guns that he carried on his person for like there was like it was like there was no rules out there.
Well, and so a lot of that stuff is true because the rules of engagement was very very fluid, right? And again, I guess one of the things you could say is that everyone was seen as the enemy because you didn't know who the enemy was, and you have to understand their society was all about the warfare. So
Mhm,
very hard for someone just to be minding their business, tending their fields, doing their things. You had so many warlords or factions that was vying for control, right? So you had the Taliban, right?
mhm,
Um, and you had people that was fighting against the Taliban, what turned into the ANA, the Afghan National Army.
mhm.
So, everyone, you had to pick a side, right? And again, the Afghan society, to be a male, it was you had a beard, a mustache, and a gun.
Mhm.
And you figure they've been fighting since the Romans, right?
Yeah,
The invasion by the Soviet Union in '78, they've been fighting continuously for that and everything else.
yeah,
So you had a whole generation plus just grew up fighting. Uh,
yeah,
you know, um,
yeah.
everyone and one of the remarkable things is that they actually seized Kabul and everything else and overthrew the Taliban essentially in less than 6 weeks. Before the winter.
Yeah.
Uh, that was good, and that
And
was all.
that was that same story, like the 12 strong story?
Yeah, and that was also bad because now you just got separate factions doing things, and now it really turned into a asymmetrical fight. And what I mean by asymmetrical is you no longer had an identifiable enemy, right? You no longer had an army in uniform, right? So now you're dealing with that. You're dealing with this warlord and his tribe, this warlord and their tribe, and everything else, right?
Mm.
Um,
That's
what,
interesting. That's, kinda similar in a way, like, the way I think about it from what you just shared is like, when like law enforcement would go to certain areas in like California, New York, and wherever, and they would try to like almost like destabilize or even decentralize like the Bloods or Crips or whatever. They ended up having like, instead of having hundreds and hundreds of dudes that were all running around wearing red, all of a sudden they were having dudes that basically just broke up to neighborhoods, and you would have one neighborhood wearing certain jerseys, one neighborhood wearing certain rags, or this neighborhood wearing, you know what I mean? And it just, like you said, all of a sudden you couldn't identify who the enemy was. You didn't know who was dangerous, who wasn't, and it wasn't just that they were Bloods or rolling 20s or rolling 60s or Crips or whatever. It was just that you know around every corner was a different neighborhood gang or a different street gang, and it sounds kind of like, I guess in a way similar, only very heavily armed.
yeah, and that's a good analogy. You had different sets,
Yeah.
and so you go in there and everything else. So there was a lot of lessons learned. A lot of lessons learned about kinetic engagements. That was like a term that was being thrown around. Like where they're going to go in and roll force on force and just start shooting stuff up. So
Mhm.
come back and had to rethink that whole strategy and everything else. And that's something that the politicians did, and winning the hearts and minds and doing all this other stuff. Then once you got like that initial peace or Taliban was overthrown, then you had a lot of beefs that like lingered on. This tribe didn't like that tribe because 200 years ago, someone won a horse race and they're still bitter about that. So around looking for high value targets and people that was in the Taliban, people that were making bombs and attacking soldiers. People would drop dime on on someone that they didn't like. So, that caused a lot of issues. And again, that goes into the politics of war. Um, and it's hard because a soldier just wants to soldier. They're not politicians. They're not looking at all this other stuff, but they get caught up in it.
Yeah.
Um,
They just
I
want to survive and kill the enemy.
Yeah, IEDs became very effective. Um, effective to the point where TTPs had to be changed, vehicles had to be changed because again, we were prepared to fight the Russians, former Soviet Union coming over to fold the gap. So we didn't have up armored vehicles. On the initial stages of the war, you literally had people in soft skinned Humvees,
Yeah.
right? Right. There's a big push to get vehicles that can actually maneuver and work in Afghanistan. Toyota Hiluxes, right? They
Yeah.
a ton of them. Don't ask me where you can find 1,000 white Toyota.
Yeah.
Like what the hell?
They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah, they are. They're out there. So you got those. You modified those. That led to a lot of innovation in the up armored vehicles. Because again, these guys were smart. They were taking artillery rounds, old landmines, um, pulling explosives out of them, and making explosive shaped charges or explosive penetrators and stuff like that. Wreaked havoc. We was getting guys blown up throughout the forces. IEDs, roadside bombs, everything else.
So,
Um,
just out of curiosity, do you know by any chance, like, what kind of machine guns were they putting on those technicals, the Hilux?
the Soviets, the Afghans, you name them, everything from Dishkas to PKMs, to the quad rocket launchers or the 16 bangers.
Or like
Um,
RPDs
yeah,
or
these PKMs, RPDs, Dishkas, everything that they had in the arsenal. Now, if you're a gun guy, the beauty about Afghanistan is they had weapons going back from World War II all the way up to the modern age. A,
yeah.
47s, AKM 74s, um, you name it, you would find it.
Yeah, I've heard stories of dudes, so there's been a couple stories that I've told on here where one dude, he was a door kicker, right? And I wouldn't call him like super high speed, like tier one, but he kicked lots of doors. Okay, and he was a guy that used to come to the gun shop that I worked at, and one of the stories that he told, he did not talk a lot, but he's one of the dudes that like when he tells a story, he uses so few words that you're like, damn, this dude is telling the truth. Like he's not the dude that shows up and starts running his mouth to look cool, And he tells this story where I asked him like, what's the craziest thing that you found yourself into, like in the situation that you found yourself in, and he said that he kicked a door in and literally like 2 feet in front of him was an insurgent, and it became uh, an immediate game of stop the other guy from drawing their firearm or being able to raise their rifle. So they ended up in a hand to hand, situation like that. Like as soon as he kicked down the door and his guys came in behind him, he ended up in basically like a ground match, and they were trying to, get their rifles in the fight and get their pistols in the fight and just beating the shit out of each other. And he ended up getting the guy pinned down, and he pulled an AK magazine out of his carrier and like out of his chest rig. And he literally beat the dude to forever sleep with a loaded AK magazine. And he
Yeah,
was like, dude, rounds were flying everywhere. And I was just, I mean, it's like a hammer, like I literally, like I went home and I grabbed a fully loaded AK mag and I was like, holy shit. Like,
there's actual reports, and if you want, I can hit you up on Instagram and show you the war citations where you had guys doing even the initial stages of the war, and even during the later stages of the war. They would roll up on an objective, and for whatever reason they couldn't get their weapon into action, or their weapon went down, and you had guys like literally delete someone with their bare hands.
Mm,
Um, I was just like,
that's
wow,
crazy.
me, because I would have nightmares, but it happens.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, what like when you think of like an infantryman or a door kicker, right? Like that one guy, maybe if his rifle went down or because for anyone that's ever been in like a training event or something like that, like when a a critical malfunction like a malfunction occurs to your long gun or handgun that literally takes your firearm completely out of the fight, the only thing you can do is go back to, okay, what primary's gone, what's secondary, right? Or if primary's empty and secondary's down, like, what do you go to? Now that one dude, like I said, he had that side by side cut down to a 8 or 10 inch barrel, but like, what did most dudes have on them? Because I guess not everyone carried a pistol, right?
So again, depending on what type of unit you was in, would dictate what type of firearms you would have. So like the initial stages, um, most of your guys had the M16A2s, right? And I really can't
Hmm.
speak to that because I wasn't in one of those units. Our guys went out with M4s. You had your sniper teams that went out with their sniper systems.
Hmm.
Uh, you had your Rangers when they went out. They would have fucking Carl Gustavs, and you know, uh, you had they started employing the handheld mortars. To give a little more firepower and a more compact package. And it was a scramble because again, we were so focused on fighting yesterday's war that when we went into that, there was a scramble to get the old 81 Mike mortars, right? We didn't have a whole bunch of shells, in the stockpile because we just wasn't using them. So they had to ramp that up.
Now,
Um,
what do you mean when you said handheld mortars? What were you
so,
talking about?
so for indirect fire, right? And there's a lot of videos on YouTube's where guys will be on a patrol and they'll start getting indirect fire from a machine gun nest up in the mountains, right? So I can't reach them with my long gun. That fire isn't effective. So
Mhm.
instead of getting a whole mortar section with a 81 Mike mortar tube and the base plate, you gotta lay that down. They got handheld mortars. It's just essentially a tube. You hold it, drop a mortar, and you start putting fire on it, right? So that was some of the innovations that came out of it. Said, hey, we gotta be faster, lighter, and lethal, right?
Is it
So had a
is it
lot. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, my bad. Just out of curiosity, is it similar to like like a kill radius of like a 40 mic or what?
No. So when we start talking about like your 81 millimeter mortars and everything else, like your 40 mics launched from a 203, or they have a limited range. So like with your handheld mortar systems, like your 40 deuce mortars and your 81 mic mortars, you're getting 3-4 kilometers with a pretty good blast radius. So you're putting down effective fire on that.
Oh,
Um,
so so the handheld mortars were still like the
it was still
80 81.
yeah, yeah. It was
Okay, okay.
and everything else, but I didn't have to have a base plate and all that other shit where generally you have a 3-person mortar team. This can be operated by 2 people, you know.
Damn.
That's some innovations. Also, some innovations, with some people talk about the lack of performance of the 5.56 round. Well,
Mhm.
initial stages, that's when they started getting into the Mark 262 because remember, your 10.3 inch, SOCOM Mark 18 became
Mhm.
popular then, right?
Yeah.
So now
That
you
was when the
uh,
upper
the up,
yeah.
yeah. So they went through and they did that whole program. Crane, um, they had a request from the units over there. They said, "Hey, we need this, we need that." Crane started modifying old M16s, cutting down the barrels, everything else. Essentially, it went back to 14 inches. Then it went to 10.3, and then they said, "Hey, we're not getting the velocity." So, in partnership with ammunition manufacturers, they sent out a solicitation and said, "Hey, we need this." They developed the Mark 262 77 grain OTM, right? Now went through 3 phases, right? So you got better performance, better terminal effects from a shorter rifle.
Mhm.
So just all that small arms innovation occurred during the war. they brought back the M14s into a designated marksmanship role, right? That's where you
Mm,
get the term DMRs, right?
yeah.
First started with the Mark 12s. That was a SEAL initiative, then all of the
Mm.
good stuff. Trying to think what else.
That
Yeah, just
that's pretty crazy. That so actually the 110-3 that I got was a 14.5 inch Colt barrel that was cut back to 10-3, but that was also it was a standard 1 in 7. It
yeah,
wasn't like the old, like someone mentioned, the old 1 in 12 twist of like the 20 inch
yeah,
M16s.
yeah,
That's what
uh,
my cousin was issued, M16A2.
yeah. So you had a lot of that stuff. You got more training, and they started looking at artillery, right?
Mhm.
Artillery. Yeah, exactly. SOP mod block 1 and block 2. And even the SOP mod program started in the 90s. So, interesting fact, Colt holds the technical data package for the M4, right?
Mm.
Um, and they held that. So, anyone that says they have an M4, unless it's a Colt, it's not a true M4 according to the technical data package. And that's like some of that geeky stuff. Still functions the
Yeah.
same, kill you, no less. You started getting into better weapons, right? And I'll say that like you know, started using the javelin more, started using the Carl Gustav. It's an 84 Mike recoilless rifle, right? Because you had a lot of people that were hiding in caves, hiding in bunkers, stuff like that.
So what are the just out of curiosity, what do those actually fire? The recoilless rifle, are those firing ordnance or projectiles?
uh,
Or or an explosive
they're
projectile?
kind of explosive. So like the Carl Gustav is the 88 Mike is 88 excuse me, it's an 84 millimeter recoilless rifle, right? So you got
Mhm.
several warheads. You got a high explosive warhead. You got airburst warheads. Um, you name it, they got it.
So
So
kinda like when you're firing from a tank, you have different rounds for different
yeah,
applications that
yes,
okay.
yes, yes. And again, not an artillery guy. I know some of the stuff on tanks, some of the armaments and everything else. But again, you're talking about like the ground guys and everything they're doing on objective or going in patrols and everything else. So that was like one of the developments. So they went from the M3A1, now they're up to the A4. It's shorter. You can fire it. They changed some of the rounds, and all this stuff is public information. So I'm not giving anything up. You can fire it from enclosed locations and stuff like that.
Mm.
Better penetration, all the good stuff. Y-
And the recoilless rifle, that there was much, if I understand it correctly, there was much less danger of the other people around it and, close, maybe not directly behind it, but, it wasn't as dangerous as like what, like a Law, rocket launcher, or does it still have a huge backblast?
Yeah, it does. So with the law, a law is a one-time use um, armament, right? You can't
Mhm.
reload it, anything else. Once you shoot it, it's done.
Yeah,
Uh, the Carl Gustav, again, it's really designed for two people. You got a gunner and you got a person that loads it for you and everything else. Ideally, you have three. You have a backblast area on the Carl Gustav. You don't want to be behind it because it will fuck up your heart. Uh,
mhm.
there's so much overpressure on it and everything else. And again, that was one of the design changes that they made to it to make it more user friendly. Um,
Do you know what kinda demo was inside of it by any chance?
it was just your standard military explosives.
Like Comp B or something like that?
Yeah, yeah. So again, some of the rounds you had airburst rounds, you had the penetrator rounds, which were great because you came up against a lot of hardened targets, people in buildings and everything else. So
Mhm.
generally, when one of those rounds hit, it would explode on contact. But now you got the rounds that were like, had a primary explosion and go through a wall, then explode inside the building, right?
Gotcha. Kinda like an RPG round has, almost like a cross between a shape charge and an EFP, to
Exactly.
where it's got like a conal shaped, tip to where it explodes for essentially for entry, right? And then it blows a hole using like molten copper to go through armor, and then there may be like a follow-up explosion or something like that.
Forms an explosion. So, and again, speaking on that, with explosives and everything else, the mechanism of injury really isn't so much the explosion; it's the overpressure that's caused by the explosion.
Yeah.
Uh, so, they dropped a lot of ordnance, airburst bombs and the hyperbaric bombs and everything else when they was bombing the caves in Tora Bora, right? So that was like a big thing out there. You would have what's referred to as singletons, or you would have three-man teams that would just go out there on their own for weeks and just track people and call in precision airstrikes. Um, when you look at it on the aspect of deleting people, it's a shame. But when you look at it on just like the sheer tenacity of people doing their job, it's somewhat impressive.
Mm, damn, that's crazy.
Mm.
So, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just curious. Did you have much time? Um, I don't want to say like messing around with, but spending time with demo explosives or anything like that while you were in?
Yeah. So being a support guy, um, it was kind of like a misnomer because it's just like, hey, I'm just here to hand out towels at the gym. It's like, yeah, we're one short. You're coming to the range with us. You
Mhm.
know, do this, go do that, and you had to learn because I had I had an irrational fear, a real fear of blowing myself up,
Mm.
and the
That's pretty
one,
reasonable. That's
yeah,
a reasonable fear to have.
yeah. And the funny thing is, like once you learn about explosives and everything else, like the military grade explosives, commercial explosives,
Mm.
they are really stable.
Yeah,
You know,
very, very stable,
like
especially like C4 and Simtex and
yeah, C4, Semtex, RDX, PET, and all other stuff. You can
mhm,
take it, throw it in your fire, and it'll burn.
yeah,
Uh, they changed the formulas on some of that stuff to where it's not as toxic as it once was.
mhm,
But again, it takes for certain explosives or series, it takes pressure and heat to detonate them. So you
yeah.
have to have pressure and heat, i.e., a blasting cap or initiate a charge or something like that.
Yeah, some of them, like, for an example, like if you took Simtex, C4, or, even, you know,
Pet and
RDX. Uh, Penton is a really interesting one, and Penton has a lot of similarities to like ETN, which is erythritol tetranitrate, which is a fascinating explosive. But the Simtex, C4, and RDX. If you were to use anything less than like a number 10 or similar blasting cap, it's probably not detonating.
no,
And it's fascinating to see something that is just so devastating that like we're talking about 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 meters per second when it detonates. It is, you know, we're talking. So when you look at ballistics, guys, for people out there that don't, know as much about energetics, a 9 millimeter does a lot of damage to a liquid medium like flesh, right? A 5.56 does a lot of damage to liquid medium like flesh. And when you have a 5.56, or let's say a 9 mil going 1150, 1200, 1300 feet per second, does a lot of damage. When you have a 5.56 going 2300, 3000, 3200 feet per second, it does a lot of damage. We're talking about, imagine a detonation going off that's nearly 30,000 feet per second, right?
yep.
It is an insane. It's so powerful that just the energy alone condenses the moisture in the air and blows this sonic wave of like turning the humidity in the air into water and just blasting it. It's such a crazy amount of pressure. It's fascinating to see.
It's that shockwave. If you go back,
Yeah.
want to say it was last year in June, the factory that exploded with that ANFO in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Root. And there's videos out there that shows that shockwave moving.
And all the
You know,
moisture.
all the moisture coming off of it and everything else. And again, when you start looking at it from a mechanism of injury, it's not so much the initial blast that does the most damage, just that shock wave that it gets you in larger explosions. Now, a hand grenade, a 40 mic round, the mechanism of injury is a shrapnel that's
Yeah.
wrapped around it. That's why you have a very small, limited blast radius. And even with those, even like with fragmentation grenades, right? There's a video of uh, one of the boys. He was doing the L&O duty, and they had some issues in one of the countries in Africa. So he mounted up, responded, pulled the guys in, and they took them down. They was throwing concussion grenades, and you can see from the video the force and everything else. So if you're in an enclosed room with a concussion grenade, you can get deleted just from the overpressure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you
Especially
might
when you add in like water and things like
have
that too.
penetration wounds, but your insides kind of turn to jelly. You know, disrupts all your organs and everything else. You can start getting like where your internal organs, like your heart, can shear off just from that pressure. Sort of the equivalent of getting hit in the chest with a baseball bat from a professional uh,
Mm,
baseball player, right?
damn.
Um, so you start looking at stuff like that. Now, getting back to velocities with explosives, TNT, tight natural two lane, just TNT because I ain't good with saying shit. TNT has velocity at 1 atmosphere and at like 78 degrees of 17,000 feet per second or 19,000 feet per second, right? So it's moving real fast, right?
Meters per second.
No, feet per second.
Oh,
It's feet.
really?
Yeah. So when you start building IEDs and explosives or shape charges, the rule of thumb is anything that you're going to push is going to pick up anywhere from 65 to 80% of that velocity. So think about if you have a 5 pound brass shape charge, right?
Hmm.
And you push that energetic, that explosively formed penetrator, that's how fast it's moving, 14,000 feet per second, roughly, depending upon atmospherics and everything else. So imagine taking 5 pounds of molten brass and shooting it through something.
Yeah, there's some of the most devastating, like um, we'll call it assassinations, have been done with EFPs
Yes.
on motorcycles, on, in briefcases, or and like for people out there that don't know, an EFP is what's called an explosively formed projectile, which like wait, and they would also use, so they would use like pressure plates with IEDs, but then they would have like a copper or with copper or brass or some type of mild metal
Yep.
that when the detonation occurred, it would take this square or bowl shaped piece of, let's call it copper, or let's say copper, right? Because copper's got a low melting point, and what happens is when the charge detonates, if it's a plate of copper in a briefcase, it all of a sudden, if it detonates in the middle, it basically it detonates, it explodes, and it sends that plate out, and it turns it into like a projectile of molten copper, and it is an extremely devastating device.
Yeah. So I always say it's the Ordnance Laboratory. They do a lot of videos and
Yeah.
good information, solid information, in my opinion, on shape charges and what they're used for, cratering charges to do this, to do that, and everything else. Um,
Mhm.
the cool thing about shape charges and doing your energetics is, you ever look at a wine bottle and you notice how it's concaved on the bottom?
Mhm.
Right. So one of the things you do is you pack that with explosives. you get your standoff distance and everything else through your calculations and all that, and you get some copper and you put it in there in a round, and it's conical, so that point is pointing up or pointing towards you. It's pointing away from the target. Once you initiate that blast, that velocity is moving so fast that it actually inverts that charge.
Yeah.
It puts the point back towards the target, and
Yeah.
that's
Instead of being this way, it all of a sudden it's pointed directly at
exactly,
the
and that's
target.
what gives you the energy to go through your armor
Steel.
plating, your steel, through people. Talking about assassinations or deletions, one of the first command detonated assassinations was done in Germany by was it the Red Brigade back in the late 70s, early 80s. And this is where they got cocky, but it was good. They said, hey, on this date, we're going to assassinate the president of the Bundeswehrbank, right? Now, they might have got lucky or they might have been that good. They command detonated a shaped charge. It hit his vehicle, spent it in the air, and only killed that individual. So
Wow.
talk about like that's like the gold standard. That's what everyone talks about, like in anti-terrorism and shit like that. And they did it with, it wasn't very high tech. They used like simple lasers and garage door openers to command detonate that.
Yeah.
Oh,
There was one, I forgot who he was, and I think it was on, maybe not Sean Ryan, but it was one of those shows where, they basically had a very limited amount of time, and they had to go from what they thought was gonna be more of a kinetic situation with firearms to having to use explosives. So, they took the little bit of, like, C4 and whatever high explosives they had, and they ended up taking, and this is extremely creative. They took an ammo can, like a 30 cal, small ammo can, and they packed it with, stuff,
yeah,
metal stuff, and, threw a bunch of C4 in there and, detonated it with, a remote detonator with a blasting cap. Oh, one of the things we can come back to. I wanna talk about PET and, det tubes too. Those are just so cool. But the ability to be creative and understand that an ammo can is essentially, you're turning that into, you know, it's frag. But it's also pressure. It's steel. It's a combination of everything that you would need to increase pressure and have some frag and stuff like that. And it's pretty crazy.
yeah. So and again, like when you start looking at it, you can go to Walmart, pressure cookers, right? Those are great for making IEDs or making energetics. I don't want to say the wrong thing and get you deleted off or get you
Yeah,
banned off.
yeah, don't do that, guys, but that is an interesting thing when talking about historically things like that have happened.
None of this stuff is classified or anything else. You can look up the reports from the bomb makers and everything else from
Mhm.
the past two wars and everything else that we've been engaged in. So you have a lot of that stuff. Again, a pressure cooker, right? I really don't need explosives because remember, what I have is a pressure vessel that's containing the pressure to a certain point. Once it can no longer contain that pressure has to go somewhere. So
Yeah,
either it be an explosion, and again, when we talk about explosions, a lot of times we use that term and it's not really explosion by scientific definition because explosion is supposed to have a certain amount of velocity and all this other stuff. You have low order explosions, you have low order explosives, high order explosives. It's all based on velocity, right? So it's
yeah,
just taking some black powder and you let it burn, right? So that it has a specific burn rate. I want to say black powder and gunpowder burns at about 3 meters per second. Your det cord, you know, burns at like 20,000 feet per second, right? And again, in a pinch, what some people would do is they would take IV bags, right? Because IV bags are saline solutions, mostly water. The cool
mm,
thing about water is the way the water molecules are. Water doesn't compress, so
mhm,
you can use that as a breaching charge. You wrap a Yuli knot with dead cord around it. You tamp it, i.e., you get a board. You have, say, you have your door here. You have your water medium, your saline bag, IV bag, a water bottle, and you
Hmm.
take a block of wood. You detonate it. It will blow the hinges off a door, and you can gain.
It will. It's crazy to think that. And I see Corn Pop will pull up your chat in a second. It water will literally cut through steel at the right velocity,
Exactly.
and uh, when you add the directional piece of it, right? Like you said, like and most like breaching charges and things like that, they're literally designed to do just that, to have the directional aspect. And I've seen videos where dudes were working with explosives, and they just kind of uh, duct taped a grenade with comp B and whatever to a piece of concrete, barely made a dent. And
Yeah.
then they, tried wood or steel and all this stuff. It didn't do anything. But when you put, a gallon sized Ziploc bag of water on it, and then you put, the grenade on top, and then you block it off with, something wood or something that basically pushes the direction, you know, towards the, in this case, concrete, it literally like laser cut a hole right through it. It was insane.
Yeah, and another thing is you have to have the proper standoff distance. You
Yeah.
know, if you put it right up against something, again, that force is just going to bounce off. If you get the proper standoff distance, you will get the desired effect. There's some people out there that can go in there and fell, like people fell a tree. They'll say, "Hey," or look at some of your demolition companies, right? They go out and they'll knock down the projects, or they knock down the whole old factory in between, like downtown. And they're so good, they got everything timed out to where that building's going to fall, backwards and not do anything to anything else.
Yep.
So people that's out there that's good. And again, they're using the good explosives. And the explosives have come so far. They've gotten away from using dynamite and everything else because of toxicity and all the good stuff. Now you have binary compounds. You have liquid slurries. If you look at like a lot of the mining companies, they use liquid slurries, and
Mhm.
it looks like a whole ribbon, and you'll see the earth move, and they'll go in and mine, or they'll clear roads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so it's all about science, and it's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to watch like buildings come down and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, I mean, right on the money. These things are like missing other buildings by mere feet.
yep.
It's crazy. So Corn Pop says thermobaric munitions have always fascinated me. They're more efficient than any other area effect weapon due to how efficient they are by achieving a perfect uh,
Tokyo Kinetic.
stoichiochromatic ratio. Thank you. When main charge detonates, aka fab or fuel air bombs, aka vacuum bombs, often in media. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. So again, something we learned in Vietnam, the infamous Blue 82 or the Daisy Cutter, right? So that bomb was designed, again, once we understood how the physics worked. World War II, we dropped a lot of dumb bombs, just carpet bombing, everything else. Bombs
Mhm,
around, they blew up. Not a whole bunch of damage when you look at the amount of ordnance to the blast radius and everything else. Then
mhm,
sitting around drinking said, "Hey, you know what? Let's get that thing to be an airburst and burst 10 feet above the ground." It's like, wow, we do more damage because it's not, you're not losing a lot of energy to the crater,
mhm,
right? Then someone said, "Hey, uh, let's put a fuel mixture in there, and we'll get two detonations. Like, one detonation is to release the fuel into the air. The second detonation is to detonate the fuel air mixture." And like, wow.
yeah.
you know, that
It's
you can say, if you're into that stuff. Um,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, especially like seeing how, certain chemicals work when you're doing things like aluminum powder is, an oxidizer and can be used as like a fuel in certain energetic mixtures, like AMPHO, for an example. And it's really crazy to see that like you could take a spoonful of aluminum powder, take a lighter to it and light it, and if you hold it there long enough, it will start to kind of burn like an ember, right? But that's about all you'll get with it. But the moment that you go and you throw it into the air and the oxygen mixes in, it's just
You
it'll all go up.
So and funny you should mention that. So I don't know, who was in the Boy Scouts or who went camping, sitting around a campfire, and someone took some sugar and threw the sugar into the fire, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool again, and now you're getting your ass whooped because you just fucking threw a 5 pound bag of sugar into a fire,
Yeah.
and it's like, what the fuck am I going to eat, for the rest of the month?
Yeah.
Um, Stuff like that. So you see a lot of fires or explosions actually in sugar refineries, flour refineries, and everything else. That's why they have a dust free, make sure nothing's shorted out. The Equalizer, the movie The Equalizer, that scene where he's in the bakery, he put that flour or sugar in there,
Yep.
he equalized it, and he
And the
ignited. And the reason why that works is because in and of itself, sugar or flour won't burn. But because of the surface area is so
mhm.
great, once you get it ignited, it just goes from one molecule to the next, to the next, to the next. So you
Yeah.
get overflash, this big explosion. And again, when we do it outside at a campfire, it's cool. It fizzles out. But now if you do that same thing inside of a confined space,
Yeah.
pressure and everything else. So again, the mechanism of injury is that overpressure,
The
right?
moment when I was watching that movie, the moment I saw him turn the fan on and see, like, the sugar and the flour clouding the whole area, I was like, "Alright, he's either going to just use that as, like, a veil, kinda like a smoke bomb, or he's hoping that that dude's gonna throw a flashbang," and no shit, the
Yep.
moment the dude came in and threw a flashbang, I was like, "Oh, I know what's gonna happen. I know what's gonna happen."
So
You
and
know?
here's some of the things too. I don't know if they still make them, but remember Still Wool and Brillo,
Yeah.
like. So I was a troubled kid and shit, and we had gas stoves, and I was like, oh, let me fucking burn this. So if you ever notice, if you get like a Brillo pad Still Wool, it'll ignite and it'll burn and everything else. It doesn't do anything like real fast or anything else. But if you take certain things, right, we all got magnesium fire starters. You
Mhm.
magnesium off. Yeah, you get your household common stuff that you have in your house,
Yeah.
and you could potentially have a very serious explosive.
Yeah, like we were talking earlier before the show, and simple things that most people have under their sink and in their garage, like uh, Flying Rich has a pool, and him and I were talking, and I was like, do you have .3 brake fluid in your garage? He was like, yeah. So okay, do you have chlorine tablets in your garage or where your pool house is? And he's like, yeah. I said, there you go. You got something that now. Granted, we're talking about really baby shit, rudimentary, dead simple stuff that just makes you in the right condition with like think of a 2 liter or one of those big like 4 gallon Deer Park plastic jugs. Those things will blow. Same thing with you know aluminum foil and toilet bowl cleaner that contains like hydrochloric acid. It's the same kind of thing to where it's a reaction. You shake it, you toss it, and it's kind of like a timed
Yeah.
device, for lack of a better term.
So one of the things that as a soldier we did because we were stupid. You get tired of watching Ranger TV. MRE heaters, right? Those are great because again, when you put water into them, you get an exothermic chemical reaction, right? It gets
Mhm.
gas. If you put that into a pressure vessel, you put enough of it in there, it will burst that pressure vessel. Now, is it going to do much damage? No, it could, right? So you start looking at, what's your mechanisms? lithium, right? Everyone has, a lot of people have lithium batteries. If you cut the batteries open, you get the sheets of lithium, and that's great because they're already thin and everything else. You can
Mhm.
meth or you can make explosives with it,
Damn.
right?
Yeah, I mean, you literally just a little bit of water and that thing is going on. It's
Right up,
yeah.
things. Uh, White phosphorus, right? It has exothermic reaction in air. It's kind of hard to get white phosphorus, but if you can get a hold of it, once that gets exposed to air, it just continually burns.
Yeah,
It,
Willie Pete.
yep, that good old, yeah. Um, Thermite, thermite is a little bit more complex, but the poor man's version of that is just iron oxide, aka rust, an igniter.
Yeah.
If you really want to get fancy, you put a fuel thickener in it. So, and this gets more into, um, I'm going to say napalm, right? So it doesn't explode, but it burns,
Mm.
right? And that's when we start talking about the velocity of the burn rate. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
Tannerite. Everyone has tannerite.
Mhm.
What is tannerite when you boil it down?
That's ammonium nitrate.
If you look
And
in, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and aluminum. Usually it's, it's a binary, so it's separated. So you'll have like pure calcium ammonium nitrate on one side, and then you'll have typically aluminum powder on one side. But even magnesium, titanium, as long as it's a fine ground powder
Powder.
that's mixed in, yeah, yeah,
So, and that's just like one of those things. And then again, some of the bomb makers, you roll up to a house and it just smells like piss, and you see pots with liquids in it. They're taking piss, urea, and they're synthesizing it to make your basic compounds for your explosives. So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't take a PhD to make uh, a poor man's force multiplier.
yeah.
Uh,
That's a crazy thing because really the most the most advancement with like true high explosives, so like we're talking like RDX and all from RDX to ETN PETN to all the way up to CL20, the shit that powers ICBMs that would potentially fly across the world. The most advancement with those have occurred over the last 80 to 100 years, really over the last like, well, let's call it 80 or 80 to 100 years, because with we had RDX and we had I think Comp B was later, but prior to that, and this is a conversation that came up in the Uncensored podcast with Crump and with, I think you were in at least one of them, where there was a point where black powder, which black powder is still totally lawful to this day. It's used in ammunition and black powder substitutes and pyrodex and like you could go to the store and usually without even an ID, you could just grab powder for reloading and stuff like that, right?
yep.
The government didn't really restrict or have there was no government arm of control in any explosives, or because it was used for the projectiles in your musket. It was used for your cannons. It was used on privateers. That really it was restricted by your neighbors, the community, a sheriff or whoever, right? Like it wasn't until things were starting to be developed through chemistry that you're pushing 2,500 meters per second, 5,000 meters per second, 8,000 meters per second, that you started to see the arm of government coming in to control all of these things. And it's kind of insane because the whole premise of that argument was to say that I and the guys on there believe that explosives should be covered under the Second Amendment as arms.
Yeah. So here's something funny that you mentioned that, right? You realize up until recently, there was about 38, 40 states where you could go and you could literally buy dynamite with the state ID, right? And they post 9/11, they kind of changed that and everything else. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah. Pre 9/11. Yeah.
when I was in Fort Bragg, in the '90s, you could go to Ace Hardware and buy Super Frac. Super Frac was like the civilian neutered C4, and people would use it to bust up beaver dams, to knock over trees and everything else, right? In
Mm.
the '90s, they said, "Hey, we're gonna start putting taggants in it so we can trace it and everything else." They did
Uh,
that for a few years, and they figured out that the squeezing wasn't worth the juice because it wasn't a whole bunch of people going in the stores buying super frack and using it to kill people. I think there was one case that the ATF investigated. It might have been a few more, but there's one case that I know of for sure that they did. Um, so, this whole thing about what do you need military style arms for and everything else? Why do you need an AR-15 and all that? I honestly think that you would prefer us to have an AR-15 or a Glock 19 with 20 rounds than for people to get the old cookbooks and go insurgent on you.
yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people that are of the belief that, the country's headed in a bad direction, and that having basic knowledge of energetics is important, because that a lot of people say, and I've said this several times, that a lot of people believe that, the firearm is the ultimate equalizer between, man and a tyrannical force of some sort. But really, truly, the real way to level the playing field is with energetics, because it doesn't matter, how many men, how many troops, how many platoons, send them, because the only thing you can meet energetics with is energetics, right
And
there.
and realistically, the only thing that's really limiting you is your imagination. Um,
Mhm.
so here's something funny right here, right? You'll get a kick out of this. Uh, Early '90s, London Heathrow Airport. Someone IRA, I believe, they set a van. It was command control, command detonated. They had improvised mortars to fire onto the airport. Right, it didn't work because their wiring was messed up and the van caught on fire.
Ooh,
At fast forward to today, 4th of July, uh, birthday reveals, and all that other BS. You can go and get commercial grade fireworks, right? And we've seen that during the riots and the BLM movements. They was throwing the fireworks. You can go get the 3-inch mortars, the 5-inch mortars, the aerial burst.
yeah.
Right there, you have a legitimate weapon,
Yeah,
right?
typically it's potassium nitrate, sulfur, and either magnesium or aluminum or titanium, which essentially is, so people know, it's like flash powder, which is it literally exactly what is used in flash bangs, typically about 5 or so grams, depending on what type of flash bang it is.
And now, more importantly, or you can Google and just put a chat. Go in there and Google commercial fireworks. There's a couple of companies in Ohio. Like, you can get essentially what is deck cord, or my personal favorite, you can get electric matches. Now, if you know what electric match is, think of the Gucci's when they do their fireworks. Ha ha.
Look at that. And
Yeah,
there's ways to even make them a little more fun
yeah.
as well. Yeah.
So think of the Gucci's when they do their fireworks and everything is coordinated in time. You can buy electric matches that you hook up to any circuit and you can set it off remotely. You could time it and all that other good stuff. So it's wide open. Hell, depending upon where you're at, you can drive along the highway and you see, Joe Blow's Fireworks Emporium. You can go in there and get everything you need to bring a city. You can have a really good time at the family barbecue, or you can wreak havoc on it.
Yeah. It's interesting that, the government, their first thought when energetics start getting in, to more serious, more destructive territory, of course their first thought, like anything else, is to, and guys, these are totally legal. Imagine like 0.1 number blasting caps. It's just a match, right? But there's, you could do a whole bunch of fun stuff with fireworks with them. But like, there is no way, at all ever to if one day, tonight, tomorrow, if the United States said explosives are completely outlawed, anything beyond black powder is completely outlawed. You cannot stop it. You could process a tree and make trinitral toluene. You could process little hexamine tablets and make RDX. You could take a sugar substitute and make erythritol tetranitrate. You could take um, you know, um, bleach. There's so many things. It is impossible to
So
stop because most
here,
things are organic.
here's a cool thing about that, right? If you was to do that, you're going to cripple the whole U.S. because that means nothing is going to be legal. Because just like we got guys cooking up meth, you
Hmm.
they're going to switch from cooking meth to cooking up explosives in the kitchen,
Yeah.
right? To synthesizing that stuff. Um, if you know what you're doing, it's just like the bootleggers, the moonshiners, right? What's the difference? It's a formula, and you'll get your
Yeah.
formula down. You'll get to do what you wanted to do. It's not illegal. The only thing that stops people from doing illegal stuff with it is the people, that individual. Like right now, there's nothing from stopping me from going to the fireworks store, getting some 3 millimeter, some 3-inch mortars and mortar tube. The hey, happy 4th of July aerial displays, and then
Hmm.
to an IED because you have everything right there. I got a tube, I got a charge. All I got to do is just put around that charge to make it lethal. And then it goes back to what you was talking about, the liberators that was dropped during the French resistance in World War II by the
Hmm.
OS. You know, I'm going
Yeah.
to do a battlefield pickup, right? I see a cop right there. I'm not advocating this by any means, right? So
Yeah.
I'm going to take their weapons, and you just build up. It's like was one of those video games where you go around stealing shit and you build your empire.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you scavenge everything.
You know, then so it's out there. If you look at some of the bigger metropolitan police forces with their SWAT teams, where they do dynamic entries, i.e., they breach. Right, you got flexible linear explosives. All it is just a sheet of PET and RDX, and it's preformed. So you got like shapes of windows and everything else. And you've seen some of the videos. Um, uh, the embassy takeover when everyone got hip to the SAS, right back in the 80s when they was rocking skinny jeans, naughty Dosses, and MP5s, right? They,
Yeah.
they used flexible shape charges to breach those windows. So that
Hmm.
you made all it is just a bent V metal beam, and it has
Yeah.
explosives.
Yep.
You know, you put it up next to your target, and you blow it, and it just blows a hole in it. Um, if you've seen the movies where they killed uh, who's a guy, Osama bin Laden, right? They had that failed breach. They got charges where, they're already prefabricated, pre-made. You just stick it up to where you're trying to breach, and it, blows a 6x6 hole in it. And you can do that. You can do that stuff with the stuff you have in your backyard. You got lawn furniture. If you got a table that's wrought on, you already got the beams there. All you got to do is put the explosives there. It's not
Yeah.
hard to synthesize those explosives.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And if you guys think of anything like water, for an example, right? Like water and energetics are similar in the way that they're going to take the path of least resistance. So when he's talking about like the V-shaped, uh, flexible shape charges. If you think of a piece of steel, like he said, that's V-shaped, right? And then it's got soft, compound explosives inside, and then you pull the sheet off and you stick it to a wall, a window, or whatever. When you detonate that, it's not going to blow the piece of metal back towards you. It's going to go the path of least resistance, which is forward, and it's going to blow into, kind of the same way we were talking about the bag of water and the hand grenade, it's gonna go that way, you know?
Yeah, and I guess one of the biggest things is, know how much of a charge to put onto it. You know, because you want to open up an entryway. You don't want to bring down the whole structure.
Yeah.
That's um, but, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. You know, the beauty about the internet is just the internet. The bad thing about the internet is just the internet. So there's some recipes out there that don't follow because you will get hurt. You know, it's just like, do they put bad information out there? Yeah, I'm sure there's some bad information out there. There's some incomplete information out there too.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't, you know, follow none of that stuff. Um,
It's probably best to just study and, not actually do anything. Just learn as much as you can because it's an exciting subject, and it's just, it's something that's cool to study up on. But so back to firearms, like when you were in, what were some of your, like, most favorite firearms that you were issued or got to shoot or just kind of saw around?
um, you know, always loved the 50 cal. Um, those were fun. The older models were a pain in the ass because you had to time them, right. So, you know, you always had to go in whenever you did a barrel swap. You had to time for headspace and timing, else you get out of battery detonation and it'll blow up on you. The new 50 cals with self timing. You can just swap the barrel and everything else.
Now you're
50
talking like the M2, like the what people call the Modus.
Yeah, those were fun because, I mean, it's just a whole bunch of power. Fucking miniguns, man. Oh my god,
Dude,
man.
you heard there's so who has all the miniguns? What country has like all the miniguns?
What do you mean? What country has all the miniguns?
If you look at like all over the world, the US.
The U.S. has the majority of miniguns because the minigun was developed back in Vietnam by General Electric, and they
Mhm.
uh, they kind of fell off, and then uh, uh, Dylan Arrow picked it up. They came up with like the A3 minigun, or the Air Force and aviators call them the M134, which you find on helicopters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Army, we call them the Mark 44. Same thing. One's AC powered, one's DC powered. And then, like, even during the war, you know, you started putting miniguns on vehicles and everything else, and figured out you can run them with a 12-volt car battery. You know, got a lot more
Mhm.
cheap and everything else.
Yeah, and earlier I misspoke. I just realized that when you said that earlier, I said Bradley, but they're Dylans, not Bradleys. That was me. I misspoke. But I bring that up because if you know some of the crazy things that have happened with, like, Operation Fast and Furious, and Operation Fast and Furious V 2.0, and things that continuously keep happening like that, right? Well, I would say the US probably has the majority of miniguns. There are others like in the UK and in other places, I'm sure, right? But there, it has been said that there is a cartel that has a fully assembled, fully functional, and just recently engaged in a um, pretty brutal shootout um, with a minigun.
So the thing about international firearms and the black market for firearms, it's out there. You know, just think about our our departure from Afghanistan, all the weapons we left there. Hell, go back to Vietnam, all the weapons that was left there in Vietnam, right? So
Yeah.
don't 1 minute that someone hasn't reverse engineered that stuff and made their own minigun. Um,
Hey, good job.
Iran has made knockoff copies of the SIG 226. You know,
I've seen some of those.
Egypt has or had a licensed copy for the Beretta 92. They called it the Helwan. So there's a whole bunch of intellectual theft and everything else going out there. The minigun is great. It's not the end all the be all. Hell, you got a Dishka. A Dishka is a 12.5 by 106. It's actually bigger than the 50 cal that the U.S. use. We use a 12.5 by 99. A Dishka was designed back in 1934 as an anti-aircraft gun. They're still using that shit all throughout, you know, just about every conflict that's going on now.
Dang.
You know, some of the things that seemed fired and was fun. Like if you ever get the opportunity to go on a gunship, a MC-130 gunship, you got fucking 105 in that bitch, man.
Yeah.
Whole fucking airplane goes sideways, man.
Dude, I finally saw one of those shells. A guy had his unit gave him a like not like an award, but some type of like recognition
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
Dude, I had no idea how huge
yeah.
those things were. But
So
the reason I bring up the minigun thing is because you know, they had alleged that it was brought over in pieces by US you know, by US citizens, and I would guess that they were talking about either enlisted people or government people
no,
or something like that.
if you Google, there was Dylan Arrow right now has a contract for miniguns for the U.S. Right, they're
Mhm.
like number one. Uh, they're like the go-to people. Right,
Mhm.
there's in Arizona. They got into a little bit of trouble because they had allegedly they got in trouble with the ATF. Right, because whatever they was doing wasn't within the scale and the scope of what they're supposed to be doing. So they said that like some of their parts found their way out into the open market.
Mm.
And we'll just leave it at that. You can actually Google it and everything else. And I don't know the complete ins and outs and what happened after they went to court and everything else. But where I used to work at, we was talking about that and everything else. It's one of those things. Um, So, and remember, you have pre 86 miniguns out there,
Oh,
right?
really? Pre-86 miniguns.
Yeah, yeah, they have fully transferable miniguns. Now, it's going to cost
Dang.
a shit ton of money. There's a guy up in Ohio. He has quite a few miniguns. There's a guy in Tennessee. He works on miniguns. So there's some out there in the wild.
Yeah,
Uh,
if you're looking at over $100,000 for like an M60 E4 or something like that, I could only imagine how much a pre-86 minigun would be.
yep.
Quarter million bucks or something like that.
Yeah, they're not cheap. So they're out there. I would say just like for me, one of the best experiences I had was I actually seen an A10, coming in on a gun run, and impressed.
Dang.
Um, there's just so much. It's like wow, man, I'm crushing out, man. I'm crushing out because I'm thinking about it. Uh, to see a uh, an AC-130 firing 40 Mike Bofors cannon, to see a little bird with 2.75-inch Hydra rockets go on a gun run. That's impressive, man. That is impressive. One of the cool things is the SWIC boat guys, uh, special warfare combat crewmen. They're boat drivers for the SEALs and other people. Their boats, man, their boats were nice, and when they open up, they open up. You can um, Google Suffolk 2019 or 2020. So SOCOM puts on a big display down at Tampa every year, right? And they do a live fire. They do a live demonstration where they'll have halo jumpers. They'll have frogmen come out the water. They'll have the assault helicopters from 160 come in. They'll just like a full blown no bullshit on the X rehearsal, and it is freaking impressive. They'll pull up in their mobility vehicles with the 50 cals running. They're shooting blanks and everything else, but it's still something to see. Uh,
Dang.
is pretty impressive. But yeah,
If
yeah,
you hear the A10, you weren't the target.
pretty much, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean, it's true. Like, the speed of sound, the sound is gonna come to you after the projectile arrives,
mm,
right? So, like, you know, sometimes you'll see it, like, in movies, right, where, you'll hear the sound when someone fires 1,000 yards away to I saw a dude shoot a can of Red Bull at, like, 2,134 yards with a 338 Lapua just the other day on Instagram. I was like, dude, it was pure insanity. That and I don't know if he was trying to push it past that. I think the longest shot with what is it, an M21, the Remington 700 308 or
mm.
whatever. I forgot what it may be an M21. They used to call them like Molly or something like that in Vietnam. But it was that dude that shot like 22, 2,400 yards, something like that. And they basically saw the he was on like hold on, was it Chris Kyle? No,
So
Hathcock.
Chris Kyle had a shot in Iraq that supposedly exceeded the capabilities of his rifle, so he just doped it out and everything else. And that was in the movie.
Yeah,
Carlos Half White Feather, he had some great shots in Vietnam and everything else. He capped someone with a mod deuce. That was like one of the first, probably one of the only sniper shots with a mod deuce
damn,
recorded.
that
Got
that's
to
crazy.
CTF. He for a while he had the longest sniper shot on record in combat. Then there's some other guys that took shots that they're not releasing and everything else just because. Um, there's a channel called Mark and Sam. I want to say they're in Australia. They do extreme long range shooting. They'll shoot everything from old timey 45 70s out to Shy-Tex. They're shooting 3,100, 4,000 yards.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
that's skill, you know. But
Yeah,
also keep in mind, most of your sniper shots aren't that far.
yeah,
Most of your shots are in urban environments. As some guys pulling Overwatch.
yeah,
Knowledge, one of the longest police shots in the U.S. was like 171.
yeah.
You
Actually, it's funny that you say that because you remember if you could think of a mass tragic event that was probably the biggest F up on the side of the police in very recent history, what what comes to mind?
Yesterday when I got fucking pulled over, no, you.
Uvalde, yep.
That's
Now,
yeah, that's like the low water mark.
dude, it's terrible, man, and did you know that at the very beginning when the dude who was in, what they call it tactical gear, I don't know if it was full kit, but the dude at least had a plate carrier on with an AR. He crashed his truck, fired a bunch of rounds at the people at the funeral home, right?
Mhm.
And then he had already discharged his firearm within, a couple 100 yards of a school and was literally beelining it to the school with his rifle in hand in, what they call tactical gear, right? And a cop had pulled up because he was called to the scene of the crash where rounds had started breaking off, right? And he had the shooter in his sights. He had his red dot on him, clocked him at 170 yards, and he could have ended it right there. But instead of stopping the armed shooter that had already opened fire, he radioed for permission to shoot him, and his supervisor didn't get back to him in time. So the guy went into the school.
So, and you have to take it into context and everything else, right? So, what you're allowed to do in a war zone is different from what the police departments do. Then also,
Sure.
you have to consider what was that officer's skill level. And on Monday, it's easy for me to sit back and say, "Oh, I would have did this." It's just like watching Sports Center, right? They're going to go back and review the film. And I have the luxury of looking at the film and doing this and saying this and saying that. Well, while you're there, everything's happening at a mile a minute. You get temporal distortion, you get all that. And again, we don't know what those police officers, um, for lack of a better term, rules of engagement, or let's just say policy. We don't know what their policy was. I don't know what their training level was. I heard that, a couple of weeks prior, a day prior, whatever it was, they just did a, mass casualty exercise or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I'm sitting here on Monday talking about the game on Sunday. Now, that's just like the Parkland shooting. Um, when the officer was there and he didn't engage the shooter. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
uh, again, do police have an obligation, or are they obligated to engage shooters? Because some people say no. Some people say, hey, it's not my job to risk my life and my limb to go into to go in to do that. And
I just think from a moral obligation, seeing an armed man walking into an elementary school,
he should have
and
stopped. I agree.
yeah, yeah, from 170 yards, if you know your holds, I mean, you're gonna hit the dude somewhere, right? Even if it was in the plate, it could have changed. Of course, looking back, it's always 2020, right? I get it, but man,
I'm going to play devil's advocate because what would have been the consequences had he missed? Would have been the consequences had the shooter turned to start firing in his direction. And again, where I stand and where I sit is he should have did something. They should have did something. But
yeah.
I don't, know everything.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, what if that was a good guy going after the shooter, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of things that we may not know, right? It's the way the story was told. The way that I brought it up may not necessarily be exactly how it occurred, or maybe the police officer radioed in and said, "Hey, tell me that this is the right guy. If this is the right guy." I got him literally my red dot is on him right now. Like tell him and maybe, his leadership failed him and he didn't want to shoot the wrong guy. Similarly to how people say like, I'd rather have, 100 or 1,000, guilty men go free than one, um,
One innocent person.
innocent. Yeah, yeah,
Especially if you look at the shooting in Nashville, and that dude, he showed up. He was like, "Give me three." He went in
yeah.
there, their business. So, is that a difference in training? Is that a difference in the situation where the shooter was already somewhere where they could go get him? And that's hard. That's hard to say. Um,
I just think from my perspective, from a moral perspective, you got to take the shot, you
yeah,
know.
you have to do something. Um,
Yeah, sorry. I know that was a little side adventure there.
no, actually, it's a good question because I'm sitting back here on the porch, be like, yeah, I would have did this, I would have did that. Be like, Q, you wouldn't have did shit.
Yeah,
You know,
you never know because I like to think I would have, right? Like I I would like to think that if I saw an opportunity to preserve innocent life, that I would jump in there and save the day, right? Like we had the barefoot defender Stephen Williford on the show, and he exchanged like he loaded 13 rounds in the magazine and exchanged like 10 or 11 rounds with the a church shooter, we'll say that. And I'd like to say that in a bad situation, I would like to think that I would react like that, but I don't know. Is my family safe at that time? Because that's my priority, right? Like when I look at the preserving innocent life, there's a priority to that shit. You know what I mean? Like preserving my family's innocent life first and then preserving my
every,
life and then everyone else after that. Yeah.
see, and funny you should mention that, right? So now, if we go over to the Westgate Mall shooting in Kenya, right? Juan Nairobi, right? SAS SAS guy, right? He went in there, man. He was sorting people out. But again, you know, you're talking about a guy that spent a good time doing counterterrorism. He spent a good time of his adult life in SAS and doing that. So he was built
Mhm.
for shit. You know what I mean? And he went
Yeah.
in, grabbed his M4, grabbed his kit, went in there. He's like, "Give me two," and he was slaying them. The guy at the hotel in Monrovia, yeah, Monrovia, same thing, man. He went in there, grabbed his stuff, and he was just like, "Hey, is everyone from the embassy secure?" He was like, "Yeah, we got some people there," and he went there and he handled business. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know if that officer was trained to that level, and that goes back to another thing. How many police departments are there in the US, right? And everyone has a different training standard. Once
Yeah.
they're post academy and all that other stuff, Uh, so that goes back to training. Like we see the videos of police officers doing a quote unquote routine traffic stop. And we all probably know by now traffic stops are nothing but routine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sideways. There was a one case where the guy mag dumped on the state trooper in New Mexico. There's countless videos of cops just getting deleted on random traffic stops. Guys get out and just start mag dumping on them.
Yeah.
You know, the one church shooting where the guy, he took that one shot and ended it. Hey, good on him. He was ready. Or who's the guy that was in the mall in the food court?
Eli Dickin.
Yeah. Oh, hey, good on him, man. I don't know if I can perform to that standard.
And he was a brand new shooter, and if he would have had to have waited for his permit and all that, if they didn't have permitless carry, then who knows how that
That
would have ended.
out
But
way
one of the things too, which really kind of it lands home with some of the stuff you're talking about, like like some of the cops in my area that I've talked to, they only have to call once a year, maybe twice a year, and they usually do it in an indoor range with their pistol, right? They don't always have to call with rifle, shotgun, and pistol. And if they're doing that at in an indoor 25-yard range or 50-yard range, then who's to say that that cop with a red dot at 170 yards
was
was
comp.
even capable? Yeah, yeah, like who knows what his competency level
I want to
would
say
be.
last year there was body cam footage that was released. A cop, he went down.
The hold my coffee cop.
I, was that him? He took the guy out, rifle, red dot, everything else at a good distance.
One shot.
One shot, yeah.
It,
Yeah,
so that, but I call him the hold my coffee cop because he literally on body cam, he takes a sip of his coffee and then he sets his coffee down, grabs his rifle, charges it, and he's just like,
got him.
boom,
You
shoot
know,
her down. You
and
know,
and again, like you said, going back to what you said about shooting indoors, I had this conversation yesterday. Had this conversation quite a bit because it's cold where I'm at now, and I don't understand the physics and the science behind shooting, because I go in there and I'll shoot at the indoor range, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good, all in the black, yada yada yada, whatever. But now I get into a situation that indoor range was 85 degrees. I'm out here, it's the winter time, it's 20
mhm,
degrees. That
yeah,
bullet formed differently and everything else. So I
yeah,
need to pass outside and see how that point of impact, point of aim, or point of aim, point of impact shift is going to affect that system. Again, if
yeah,
I'm just indoors and I go outside and shoot, it's going to be different. And the actual facts, out of all the law enforcement officers in the U.S., how many actually discharge their guns?
very few.
Very few. And like you said, because of budgets, because of lack of interest, because of whatever, a lot of them don't shoot. They're not as proficient with their firearms as maybe we think they should be. They're not as proficient with their hands. because I don't always have to go to a gun, right? You could choke someone out, but how many cops, you know, for lack of a better term, knows how to fight? How
Yeah.
many cops know how to prevent someone from taking their firearm from them?
Well, and let's be real, most people that have, a high skill level with fighting and that know what it's like to be around things like theft and crime in the streets would never even be able to pass the background check, let alone, so I just think that, if they do want to make some changes within law enforcement, then really what you need is reformed bad guys. You know what I mean? Like people that I think this
Well,
whole
yeah,
the the Boy Scout shit is bullshit. It's not always gonna because they don't know necessarily what to look for. They don't know who to look for. They don't know, that I see cops walking around that just appear to be completely oblivious
absolutely.
where I'm walking around and I'm at the mall and I'm looking at everyone's hands and their pockets and their waistbands and some cops are just like bored. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Well, and it goes back to probably about 6 months ago, the female officer that was in Chicago. They tried to take her firearm, and she had a little bit of skills, with the hand to hand and everything else. She broke distance and got effective rounds on an individual. So,
Yeah.
again, I want you out there protecting and serving, and I don't have enough time or money in the budget to get you into a grappling course, a BJJ course, or to teach you how to shoot better. One of the instances where a female officer pulled someone over, and whatever happened, she thought she was going for a taser, but grabbed her gun
Oh, dude.
like that. So if we're not training to those stress levels and those stress events, when it happens, you know, you've never been put in that situation, and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to believe you don't know where your taser is versus your pistol.
Well, especially when, one is a, you know, big, heavy item at your 3 o'clock and the other one is a bright yellow item at your 10:30, 11 o'clock. But, that this really interesting study came out recently saying that all women are bi.
Yeah, bipolar.
It's so either bisexual or bipolar. It's up to you to find out. I'm just kidding. That's not a study. It was a meme. Sorry, guys.
No. But so those are some of the things taken into consideration. Y- you know, and like you said, most cops don't know unless they've been socialized or experienced or seen how certain elements interact and what they do and do all this stuff. By the time they figure that out, they're 15, 25 years on the force, and they're
Mhm.
on street patrols and anything else. You
Dude,
know,
I'll tell you as a reformed dirtbag, right? I have led a life of cleanliness for over 13 years, and anything that I ever mention about my history, I am so far past the statute of limitations. So for the feds out there, pay no attention to what I'm saying, but I I could not tell you how many times that I was searched, had my vehicle searched, and I was dirty almost every single time, and I outsmarted cops on the street. And now, granted, the area that I grew up in, at one point it was very, very rural, and then it kind of grew up and then became a little bit more urban, and then a lot of like MS 13 and 18th Street and a lot of other things kind of it changed the dynamic a big way. So maybe it was that when I was growing up, there were a lot of those old school kind of rural thinking cops, right? But our deputies. But then, later on, maybe nowadays, like it's different when I get pulled over now than what it used to be, but also the climate for law enforcement is different too. So I don't know. It's
and let me officially say, hats off to people that want to go into law enforcement, and they're not dicks about it, because they have a tough job, because a lot of people just don't like them, and they're doing they're doing what they're supposed to be doing for the most part,
Yeah, just let us know how that boot tastes in the back of your throat. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.
but again, the simple thing is it's like, if you got a jar of candy, you got 100 M&Ms in there, and one of them is poison. Are you going to take the chance and put your hand in that jar and eat one when one of them might be poison? No, you're not. So now all cops are bad cops,
Yeah.
until proven otherwise. And conversely, 2 o'clock in the morning when you pull me over and I fit the profile or whatever, I'm a bad guy until proven otherwise. So I kind of understand it, because it goes back again to when you're in a war zone or you're deployed somewhere, everyone's the enemy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Now, part of that, and I think we were on a live together some while back, and we was talking about the militarization of the U.S. police force and the
Mm,
10th program.
yeah.
So and I have this mentality as a cop. If you call it a war, you say it's a war, you start to think it's a war, you treat it like a war. Why does Podunk, Alabama County Police need a fucking Bearcat?
Yeah. Why do we have, you know, these extremely rural towns and cities, and you got cops in literal full kit, and you got MRAPs, and so I may have been speaking over you at the time. You said what's the program again?
Uh, the 1033 program.
So
Um,
explain to people what that is who may not know.
the 1033 program was set up and falls under the Department of Homeland Security and everything else. It's like a mutual aid program. Essentially, all old military equipment is given or sold to police departments, local and state, and some federal departments at a reduced cost. So, let's say, let's say Army is transitioning. They just got rid of a Bearcat, right? Say, hey, DLD, you got a police department. Do you want this Bearcat? We'll give it to you for $10,000, or we'll give it to you for free. But you just have to use it to prove that you're utilizing it. So what do? You form this counter drugs narcotics task force, kicking in doors, and
Yep.
you down here. You grew up with him. He's selling a little meth or a little bit of marijuana, and you go to church with his grandmother. You know where to get him, but he got one warrant. So what do? You fucking roll that Bearcat through his fucking grandmother's house.
Yep.
You wreck Mima's house, serving a bullshit warrant, but you get to keep that piece of equipment, and you can get more equipment. They give away everything from file cabinets to fucking M16s. There was one local police department not too long ago. There was doctoring the paperwork to get fully automatic weapons, dealer samples. Instead of using them, they was keeping them for their private stuff.
Oh, you talking about that sheriff that
Yeah.
got in trouble with you talking about the Larry Vickers situation or a different one?
But this was a straight law enforcement. This is nothing about Mr. Vickers and his stuff. Again, I don't know him personally. I know of him. Uh, and that's a whole other fucking live, man, to talk about that.
But they were working with an SOT to somehow get
Yeah,
machine guns or
yeah. There were
hold
also
on.
there's also getting firearms from the 1033 program. Think about this right here, right?
Mm,
Well, outside of your large metropolitan police departments, NYPD, LAPD, stuff like that, right? Seattle, maybe, whatever. Yeah, Miami. Why am I sending uh, a county sheriff to a sniper course, or
yeah.
that the county with a population of 2,000 people? So we're starting to arm our police as in a pseudo military fashion, right? So you start developing that mentality. You want to use that stuff and everything else. You look at like some of these police departments that serve warrants on the wrong addresses, right? They go
Mhm.
for dynamic breach, man, fucking blow people's doors off and shit like that, wreck their house. And they're like, hey, man, You know, we're sorry. Don't
At
even
the wrong address.
yeah,
Yeah, and make them sign, paperwork saying that they won't sue them. And
what it, you know, it's wild, man.
yeah, Gray Gunner, did I make an off color joke or something? Did I make my apologies? I joke around a lot, so my apologies if I made an off color joke. I wasn't paying attention. Maybe it was the buy joke. John Crump Live, thank you for the super chat.
They
Faking law letters. Yep,
all letters, exactly.
yep,
You know, and that's I guess that's human nature, man, because like even in the military or certain organizations, you get something cool, whether it's a backpack or whatever, shit comes us from the fucking supply room, because people want it and shit.
yep.
It's everywhere.
Dude, I'll tell you that in the area that I live in Virginia, there is when you see a police officer, once upon a time, you saw a police officer and you saw a uniform, right? Now, if you see a police officer in the area that I live in, they are wearing a full overt plate carrier. Usually, I mean, there are some where there's an exception, right? But 9.9 times out of 10, they're wearing a full overt plate carrier. They have at least one, if not a couple or a few backup AR mags on themselves. They got a full gun belt. I've even seen some rocking just in duty knee pads and elbow pads, and they got their handgun. They got 6 handgun mags, and then at least an AR mag on their belt, and 1 or 2 AR mags on their plate carrier too. And I get it. You're in law enforcement, so the likelihood of you needing to get in an exchange of gunfire is way more likely than the average civilian. And let's be real, I roll with a decent amount of firepower on me too. But when, like you're saying, when you develop the mindset of war, being at war, all of a sudden anyone can become a combatant, and you meet that combatant with each combatant, whatever it is, whether it's a traffic warrant or just pulling somebody over for dead tags, my dead tags, or you do it all the time. Of course I do, Gray Gunner. I'm me. I'm dark. I make off color jokes all the time. But whether it's a traffic warrant or just pulling somebody over for dead tags, or if it's a a no knock raid, they're usually gonna they're bringing everything they have to the fight, right? So they're gonna treat all of them the same. So they're really, it appears that they're at war. When you see a cop in full kit, it's like, whoa, like, what are you
And
doing?
yeah, and again, the old axiom, to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And that's what it is. There's a video of a police officer. He was in a gunfight and he ran out of ammo. So his department issue Glock. He carries like 4 33 round magazines. He carries something like 180 rounds of ammo because he literally ran out of ammo in a gunfight.
I know exactly what situation you're talking about. He got in a shootout with a guy that he ended up hitting a bunch, but he did not get out of the fight. And he dumped like every single round that he had, and his last 2 rounds he ended up firing underneath of the car that brought him down, only because it was an anatomically significant couple of hits that brought him down. Otherwise, the dude still had ammunition, and he was gonna come between the cars, and once you're out of ammo, that's a wrap.
And a lot of it goes back to, if you go back to Bonnie and Clyde, where the cops was outgunned because Bonnie and Clyde had fucking bars and everything else, and even more
Yeah,
recent, the Miami Dade shootout with the FBI. You had everything from 25s to 32s to everything that was fucking ineffective.
yeah,
And then that's when you really started standardizing stuff. And then they said, hey, there's more firepower on the street, so we need to up our firepower. So
yeah,
it's an arms race. And
yeah,
you have the proliferation of you know little knuckleheads with the Dracos and all this and all that. So yeah, you don't want to be outgunned, you know,
And Glocks with switches and,
with other stuff. And it's really bad on us, the law abiding gun owners or the law abiding practitioners and followers of 2A. So yeah, all right, but still, I don't need you to, you know, get out of your squad car because I'm sitting down, you know, keying up my map, trying to find directions because I'm lost, and you know, you come out like fucking, you know, SEAL Team Six and shit, 8 dudes and shit, you know,
yeah.
fucking me out my car and zip tying me. You know, I was like, come on, man, that's, you know, that's like fucking really, man.
Yeah, it's intense. And if look, a lot of people haven't been in a situation where, they've been totally overpowered and totally um, out of control in the presence of police. And look, I every now and then I'll have to say something negative about, in general white people. And I love my people, but man, the shit that most regular white people say to police, I'm like, what? I could never say that shit. They're like, "What are you doing, bro? Back up," with their hands in their pocket and shit. I'm like, "What?"
You
Like, I would never, ever hands are out of my pockets. So, like, I'm, like, they're like, "Back up, bro. Get a real job." I'm
can't.
like,
Hey,
"Whoa."
I'm laughing. There was a clip that hit the internet's hard about some guy, middle-aged guy in the airport, and you know he was doing something. They asked him to leave, and they took him to the ground, and they're trying to put cuffs on him, trying to restrain him. He was like, "You treat me like a black person."
Oh my god.
That was the funniest shit.
Damn.
I
That's
can't believe
crazy.
that shit was funny, man. But
Did
it
you
makes you think. You know, it's just like
Oh,
there. The problem, potentially a problem with the way we police in America. And I know that's kind of off topic about small arms and everything else, but it segues back into it
no,
because
it's cool. It's cool.
you
It's good.
know we have this arming up of law enforcement, right? And you know, if you're there to enforce laws, enforce the laws. You know, enforce all laws equally. Gun laws, you know, it shouldn't be on the news. Q just robbed a bank, you know, with automatic weapons and everything else. He has 19 felonies. Well, 19 felonies, Q's ass need to be in jail.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
he's out. He's out awaiting trial. Ah, man,
Dude,
Q needs to be in jail.
there
Uh,
was and Gray Gunner noted, I appreciate that. But yeah, there was a dude recently that and there's a couple things I disagree with this, but a guy went to Walmart and he put a whole ass load of ammo inside a cart and then went to self checkout and started boop, boop, boop and paid cash. Well, somebody saw an entire cart full of like shotgun ammo and rifle and whatever stuff is like out on the shelf, right? At Walmart. And they apparently called I completely disagree with this, but and this was kind of what started the whole thing about it. But somebody called the police, whether it was loss prevention or a Walmart worker or a civilian or whoever, and they said there is a man purchasing a quote suspicious amount of ammunition and paying cash. Now, at the time, they did not know that this guy was a dirtbag, meth dealer, like huge jacket. I mean, this dude had a jacket of everything you could possibly imagine. And almost every time he was caught, felon in possession of a firearm, right? With obliterated serial numbers and all that. So anyway, the cop actually met him at the door with a long gun. Like this was a really weird scenario, but they ended up getting in a shootout in the Walmart parking lot. Another police officer was there with his pistol. They ended up exchanging rounds, and the dude got arrested. Well, like 4 weeks later, maybe even less than 4 weeks, I may be misremembering, he was let out. The dude got out and he ended up getting pulled over again. He was detained and they put him in the front because it was a canine like Tahoe. They put him in the front passenger seat of this cruiser and they ended up finding 2 kilos of meth, 4.5 pounds of meth, and a 9 millimeter with an obliterated serial number. And when the cop turned around and said, "Put him in cuffs," you see the cruiser go "Erp," and pull off.
Yeah,
The the dude jumped over from the passenger side to the front seat, and he dipped out. Well, then he accessed the suppressed M4 that was in the car and then got in a shootout with him again because, 1, he was out of jail, right? He had bail jumped, and, he they had no idea that he was just locked up
and released.
for for getting in a shootout with cops, and then boom, another shootout with cops, and he ended up not dying, but a bunch of people were shot, civilians were shot. It was just a huge disaster, but, they I don't know, it's just crazy because the situations I've been in, I maybe the cops just were having a bad day, they didn't do their due diligence, it seemed like they were too focused on the female that was in the car, and, it was just a weird situation.
Well,
I didn't know if you'd heard about that situation.
and there was video, police dash cam footage of they put a female in the back of a squad car, and she was small in stature. She slipped out of handcuffs and stole the squad car. There's video of another female, got through the cage that separates, the back seat from the front seat, accessed the weapon that was in the patrol car, and started shooting.
Yep.
Um, Cops are human, man, because like a lot of times they just don't, sometimes they just don't think that, hey, this person is a threat, and we have now what's called asymmetrical threats, right? Because before it used to be you roll on a scene, you see some burly bikers or you see whatever. All right, there are threats. Now you roll up on a scene and you see, not your normal people. You see small females. They're just as bad as some of the bigger males.
Yeah.
You always have to have your guard up. But again, it goes back to, are you enforcing the law, serving and protecting law enforcement, or are you an occupying force?
Yeah.
Right. Again, one of the ways we police in America, it doesn't make sense to me. The majority of your police presence is in underserved neighborhoods, whether it's financially, the ghetto, whatever you want to call the urban area. But
Mhm.
at 90% of my cops there, I shouldn't have 90% of the crime going on there.
Yeah.
That doesn't, I'm not going to get return on my investment. I don't have the solutions, um, getting back to, they're fighting the proliferation. Everyone got guns, whether, I guess a big thing now is smash and grabs or gun store break-ins and robberies,
Mhm.
and the vehicles stealing guns and everything else, right?
There
It's
was just another one that happened out my way recently. I mean, it's a little far away from me, but close enough to be like, "Dang." And they went after long guns. The last one that happened, they literally, like, with with concrete, smashed, like, big chunks of concrete, smashed the windows. The dude ran in, he grabbed a $2,500 SIG SBR,
nice,
smashed the glass, and then tossed it and grabbed a bunch of, like, High Points and Kel-Tecs,
good taste, good taste. Um,
right?
and again, when we start looking at the funding for police and everything else, um, could they be better funded? Yeah, but could they use the funds that they already have more efficiently and in better ways? Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You start looking at plate carriage. You talk about all these cops and their kit and everything else. Where you
Mhm.
start, like some of the body armor that they're wearing, they're wearing level 3 body armor. All right, I got you. Level 3 body armor is not really going to do anything for the majority of your intermediate rifle caliber rounds. You're
Yeah.
starting 5.56, 2 by 39, and everything else. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
again,
it's interesting. Out here, they're rocking soft armor and they're rocking plates
yeah,
too. It's Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And again, that goes to funding because, you can get the level 4 titanium, observable body armor and everything else, but not a lot of police departments got the money to pay for that stuff. So there has to be a compromise. You know, I don't have the answer to that. Do they need to
Yeah.
train? Definitely. I think we all need to train better. You know,
Yeah.
because very few people will rise to the occasion. You sink to your baseline of training. That's just the facts.
Yeah.
I didn't shoot because again, I haven't seen too many gunfights that was static. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying John Wick about it, but you might have to learn how to shoot behind a barricade, behind a vehicle, behind cover. You know,
Dude,
uh,
one of the things that we were working on when we did the intermediate gunfighter, the advanced gunfighter class and the intermediate class was, kind of simulating shooting underneath of a car, but still being able to reach out far away enough because like a quarter inch under a car is 2 feet at 40 yard. I mean, not exactly right, but I mean it's a it's a big difference. And seeing that situation where the guy had stolen the cruiser and all that, like one of the things that they could have employed was doing something similar to that. And it reminded me, I mean, obviously training is something that I think is really important, but it made me grateful for the fact that I've put a lot of time and energy and money and rounds and all that into training, which has also made me shift my kit, right? Like what kind of kit am I using? What do I get? What do I find out doesn't work? And you know, and all that. But I know we just hit 3 hours, so we should tie it up here. But man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. This is a really good conversation.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it means a lot. Hey, I just want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of the training aspect and everything else, it's great to throw rounds down range and everything else, but also know your weapon system because there's a lot of people, that um, I'll uh, I'll go and I'll drop a trigger, aftermarket trigger into a AR-15 or into a pistol, and I didn't put it in quite right, and it fails me at the time I need it most. Or, a lot of police departments, again, it goes back to the budget. They'll get a deal on some weapons and everything else, and they find out that those weapons don't really perform satisfactorily or to their standard. And now they're trying to sell those weapons and go back to another manufacturer and get something else.
Yeah.
And that sometimes is hype, and sometimes it goes down to cost because I'm going to offer you a deal on 10 uh brand X AR-15s, right? And
Hmm.
that's and I hate to say this, they're not like duty grade AR-15s. They're not guns that can take a beat and take a high round count and all that other stuff. So that's
Yeah.
what to get what you can afford, train with it, excuse me, and also maintain it because you don't want to have to use your weapon and springs start flying out.
Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
True that.
You purchased you purchase something off of Amazon and it's out of tolerance, and it falls off.
Yeah.
It, you know, uh, screws walk out, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
Opt- optics fall off and shit. And I'm like,
Yep.
because I had an optic on a pistol and was just shooting it. Notice the screws was loose. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Tightened it back down, continued shooting it, and shot it, and the fucking optic came off. Lost the screws, right? Because I was
Oh man.
locked tight on it.
Did it hit you in the head or did it just fall off?
It almost hit me in the head and shit. It went over my head and shit. And it's pretty good because I got a huge fucking head. That's why I was
That's impressive that it didn't hit your big old noggin. I get a big noggin too. It's an interesting thing, man. So I'm back. My girlfriend was breaking up with me. Oh man, that sucks, Armitage. I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, sorry to hear that, man.
You know, it's one of the things that especially for guns that I'm going to carry, one of the things I started doing is, when I'm installing the optic, I'll take an alcohol swab to the screws and to the, just to make sure I'm removing as much of the grease and oil as possible. Then I'll Loctite them, but once I get them down, I'll take a little paint marker and do a 12 o'clock dot on it, so that way if it starts to back out, I can actually, like, see it backing out. Because otherwise it's almost impossible to see until it's way too loose,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Just index it, and
Yeah.
um, that's that's like a whole nother live and everything else, man. But that's real important because you never know. Like you're doing a lot of firing and everything else, and shit starts just loosening up and backing up. It's man made. It will work its way out. It might not be next week or next year, but at some point it will. And I've learned that lesson many times. It's just like with AR-15s, and I promise I'm not gonna say anything else after this.
No,
We
you're good.
things and everything else, and we start looking at them, and like how many of us has actually went and look at the staking on your castle nut or the staking on your bolt carrier key and stuff like that, and making
Mhm.
stake, because we'll throw around these terms right here: mil spec and mil standard. We use those interchangeably, but those are two different terms, right? Because the material of your gas carrier key, the material of your gas tube, stuff like that. Make sure you're not getting into tolerance stacking. I know you do a lot of stuff with P80s and 3D printing, so you know about tolerance stacking and
Mhm.
stuff. Just guys, just take one day and look at your stuff and make sure everything's staked down properly, because you don't want to be at a course where you spent X amount of dollars and your shit fails and you didn't bring a second one that you
Mhm.
tried out and that works. There's nothing worse than driving 4 hours, getting a hotel, showing up to a class, firing 50 rounds, and you got to sit over there and maybe someone got an extra rifle you can use.
Yep. Yeah, and I've literally seen it where, dudes thought they were gunsmiths, and I saw guys AR, literally the buffer tube and everything, the castle nut walked off, and the back of his rifle from the receiver extension literally just fell off.
Hey, DLD, I told you that shit in confidence. You wasn't supposed to tell anyone else.
Yeah, no. Funny enough, I wasn't talking about you, I promise. But did that happen to you?
Nah, I'm just joking
Oh,
around.
okay, okay.
Hey, you got to have a good sense of humor too, because it
Yeah, yeah, facts. No judgment either way, But yeah, I mean, I talked to a dude that was staking his castle nut, and he was using a brass punch, and I was like, man, do you not understand that brass is softer than steel? Like, you're it's not, it doesn't work like that. You gotta use a steel punch to stake the castle nut into the receiver extension piece thingy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then of course, like the gas key and the dude, I could not tell you how many thousands of rounds suppressed that I went without fully disassembling my BCG. And I'm just surprised that it ran. I basically would do like you know, when I was like a kid and I had some ARs and I didn't really shoot them all that much, I would take out the BCG and I would just literally wipe all around it, wipe the inside and wipe around the inside of the bolt when I pulled it out. But I wouldn't actually completely disassemble it. And we all make mistakes, right? Most of it's out of laziness, honestly. But yeah, you got to make sure your shit is clean and maintained, and um, you know, yeah, make sure your shit's tight.
Yep. So, but
Yep.
yeah, hey, again, thanks for having me on there. And
Yeah.
maybe next time we can talk about some other Wazoo stuff and just good information. You got my IG. If anyone in the chat has any questions, man, just hit me up. If I don't know everything, I just do a lot of research and try and find good information and everything else. Try and find correct information. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Hell yeah. And
and
that your IG is JoVa Q, just like that, right?
yeah, yes, yep.
Okay, cool. So for anyone out there, go now. I know you're not like yeah, I guess usually, we have like companies or content creators on, it's Joe Q is he's just a dude, he's a hell of a dude and he's got an incredible amount of info. So find him on IG, follow him, show him some love, like his stuff and just hit him up and he's a great dude to chat with. He's a wealth of knowledge.
I appreciate it. And again, guys, stay frosty and stay safe, man. Get out there and vote. Even if you don't think your vote counts, man, make that noise. You know, make
Yeah.
them to you.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy year. There's a whole nother thing which I'm going to do another stream on, but essentially, um, this platform that we're on right now has started this whole new thing where not only are they holding content creators accountable like they always are in an election year, they take that up, 10 notches, but now they're holding viewers accountable. So if you say certain things in chat, they will literally ban you. Um, if content creators report on things that are happening in the political world and in our culture and this is how what, I'll just say it real quick just because you know it's a really interesting thing. How do I know that terrible things are going to happen in 2024? This is how I know. In February of 2024, Google will update the inappropriate content policy to clarify the definition of sensitive events. A sensitive event is an unforeseen event or development that creates significant risk to Google's ability to provide high quality, relevant information and ground truth and reduce insensitive or exploitative content and prominent and monetized features. During a sensitive event, we may take a variety of actions to address these risks. Examples of sensitive events include events with significant social, cultural, or political impact, such as civil emergencies. Okay, remember that. Natural disasters. Remember that. Public health emergencies. What does that sound like? Terrorism and related activities, conflict, political conflict, and something about, oh, mass acts of violence. So literally, they could go to anybody. So even with all the conversations that we've had in the catalog of live streams where we're talking about any event with mass casualties or how we think the narrative is different, if anyone, the content creator or the viewers, speak out and say that they disagree with their line of thinking, there's this sentiment clause where if the sentiment of a viewer or content creator is expressed that differs from the same sentiment that Alphabet or Google or YouTube has, they can ban the viewer and then they can ban the content creator or demonetize them. So that tells me that they may have some plans already for 2024.
Hey, also, with that being said, I want to say it's T-Mobile. They just updated their agreement where
Yeah.
they your text messages and fine you for certain text messages. Also, don't forget about what we think is private on telephone numbers and text messages and everything else. They
There's
have
no such thing.
show through the third party clause, which basically means that if I send DLD a text message because I used a public company, i.e., my cell phone, they can go to the cell phone and get the contents of that text message. Now,
Yeah.
I'm no conspiracy theorist or anything else like that. I would say try to go to some form of secure encrypted communications. Let your conscience be your guide.
Yeah.
Do whatever you think you have to do. There's other platforms out there. I know some people are on Rumble. Check them out. He's on Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what we've been going over too. I mean, not completely, but um myself and Marine Gun Builder are going to start doing a show every Tuesday at 12 noon on Rumble. We do, I have a channel over there too. And then that's one of the other things is that they said, because we do our uncensored podcast over there Monday nights at 10 p.m. And any what type of people go to Rumble? People generally that think like we do, people that believe in freedom, independence, and liberty, and videos that mention Rumble have Rumble links, have all those are going to be put in the same category as all this stuff that we're talking about here. So it's crazy. This year is going to be an interesting year, regardless of what happens. It's going to be an interesting year.
Yep.
Yeah. So, guys, make sure you give JoVa Q some love, man. He's really, really knowledgeable, and again, I appreciate you coming on. And as we close everything out, anything else, any advice, dad advice, or anything else you want to give to the viewers before we hit the road?
No, I would say again, thank you for having me. Just do whatever you can do through whatever you think you need to prepare for. If you have questions, reach out to someone, ask them, because no one knows everything. We learn by our experiences, and some of the best experiences are shared experiences, because I might be having a problem that DLD has the answer to because he's encountered it before. He might know someone that does it. We have a good community.
Yeah.
People out there with the BS and everything else. And um, it's not a money game. It's do what you can do to get where you need to get to game. If that makes any sense. And practice, train, one step at a time. Just one step at a time.
Yeah. Facts. Well, again, I appreciate you coming on, and everybody out there. I as we close out, I just want to remind you guys that we need to support the companies that support us, right? So, as always, I mentioned Goonbeam, where we have these crazy lights. This blue light is insane. It's like it's not even real. It's nuts. And if you use the code in the description, if you use the link in the code, you get, I think, 10% off and maybe free shipping, but you get something off. Also, the tack knives, I got the tack knives link and code in there. You get 20% off there. Everything from Goonbeam, tack knives, PR triggers. If you want a deal on a PR trigger, hit me up. You got to DM me on Instagram, and I can help you get a link and a code for that. And John Crump Live, thank you for the super chat, brother. Uh, I swear to God, there is a UGO outside. Yu-Gi-Oh? Unidentified golfing. I don't know what does that mean. Is that like a UFO but gold?
is it a black van?
Yeah, yeah. What is it? Maybe they're using like the ground penetrating radar on your house, and you think it's a. Oh, okay, he says UFO. Send me a pic or FaceTime me. But thank you, Crump. I was not expecting you to send a super chat like that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother. But guys, remember, support the companies that support us, right? Like Joe Q said, we got a tight community. We got to take care of each other, and support companies too, like I mentioned, PR triggers, yeah, take a pic, Crumpy. I mentioned like Aegis, AR takedown tool. I'll just take a look in the description in the vehicle in the video, and also remember that I do have the new YouTube channel. I'm trying to bring as many people over there as I can. Because and I got a few more subscribers after tonight. Let me see here. I'll drop this one more time. I'll put, let's see, where's the share button? Hold on. I gotta pull it up. And copy and share. Okay, so hey, Corn Pop, welcome back to the Kim Light Club, brother. I appreciate you joining, man. Thank you guys so much, man. Thank you, Corn Pop. I really appreciate you, bro. Welcome back to the Kim Light Club. Chana Chanamimba, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you coming back. There is the one of the shorts that I posted. It's a new channel. It's going to be specifically for hard video uploads and YouTube shorts and all that. The merch is live on DLD hardware. That is all shipping out, and I got that issue fixed, so that's up there as well. And I will only have like 12 to 14 of these DLD Glock barrels. So once they're posted and they're out there, that is it. That's the only run we're going to do. So Goon Beams will also be posted on the hey Taco Syndicate. Thank you, bro. Member for 11 months. Ligma Bulls. um and Goon Beams will be available on DLD hardware as well. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. If there's anything that I can do for you guys, if you're looking for specific guests for me to have on, hit me up, holler at me, let me know. And if you see somebody out there, content creators or anyone out there that you'd be like, man, I would love to have, that person come on DLD hardware, or oh my goodness, sorry, I was looking at the DLD hardware thing on DLD After Dark, then shoot him a message and be like, yo, I would love you to come on my favorite YouTube channel. But tag me in it too if it's on Instagram or anything like that. All right, so in closing, guys, remember, look, the best way for you to go through life is to have your own standards and expectations and things that you set for yourself and other people around you, and that's what leaders do, right? And kind of like your own rules. And for me, I have rules. Some of them I share with you guys every single time I close a stream. And some of the rules are: rule number one is to be kind. It's so important that we're kind in everything that we do. That brief interaction that you have with somebody else could have a massive impact on their life. So be kind. Rule number two is to live a life of care, compassion, contribution, give to others. When you bless others, you become blessed. A hand that's open to give is open to receive. Rule number three, because we know the only way for us to defeat evil is with good men skilled in violence, make sure that you're becoming as highly skilled in violence as you possibly can be. Be safe, be dangerous, and keep that thing on you. And since it really, really, really feels like we're getting close to the end right now, I recommend that all of you get right with your families and get right with God, because it feels like the end times are near. That's all I'll say. Whoever your God is, get right with them. All right. JoVa Q, thank you again for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the next one.
You.
Peace.